But today is definitely going to be a very interesting one. So what we are going to learn today, agenda is very clear. So Excel refresher, we are going to understand about the most frequently used Excel functions. We are going to use some shortcuts for faster Excel analysis. Then what are the tables in Excel? We have learned about the pivot table. It's a very small topic, but I'll definitely show you what are the tables. Then some data formatting, and then definitely some visualization. All right. So for this, we have to start with our file, Excel refresher file. And in this, we are going to cover all this option. You can see my tab 001. So what is your task? Your task is to separate this column, this role and manager or role and region column into two different columns. So I want to see role, which is manager, agent, supervisor, and so on. And in another column, I want to see the region. So it's a role and it's a region. I want to separate these two information in a two different column. Closely look at the data and tell me what is the separator available here. How do you say these are the two different things? You have a hyphen. You can see there is a hyphen which is separating two parts. Now, in the same way, if I ask you, okay, tell me what is the separator in the full name? I want to separate to first name and the last name. So here we have a space definitely, and here we have a hyphen. So if you know the separator, there are multiple ways to perform this section. You can use the left formula, you can use the right formula. What I'm going to explain you is text to column. Very, very important topic, text to column. Most probably people who are already working in Excel know this thing. Those who are absolutely new to Excel, it is very important for them to understand this part. So just pay attention on the screen. So what I'll do, I'm going to do is I'm selecting this area first. Remember, select the area properly. Okay. Do not select the region. If you want to select, you can select, because also region is being separated by hyphen, role and region. So you can select region in this case as well. That's absolutely fine. That means a header. Go to the data tab. In a data tab, you will see this text to column option. Do you all see that this text to column option, everyone? In this, just click text to column option. You will see this first window. What is the first window says? Step 1. What is it says? How you want to separate, describe your data. Do you have a delimiter? Now, what is meant by delimiter? Delimiter means you have a separator available. Fixed with means there is no separator available. In our case, separator is available. So we will go with the very first option, delimited. That means a default option. I'll click on the next. In the next, you have a data preview here. This is how your data looks like. Now you want to, like separate this. So hyphen. So look at in the list. So semicolon is there, comma is there, space is there, but there is no hyphen. So I will select other and I will type the hyphen here. The moment I type the hyphen here or a minus sign, you will see the data preview. Look at this. The data has been successfully separated in a two column. Column 1 is a role, column 2 is a region. Now I am in a step number 2. I can see the result. I can see here it's coming properly. So what I'll do, I'll not go to the next part. I will directly click on finish. The moment I click on finish, and here you go. The data has been successfully separated in a two columns. One is a role column, one is a region column. Is this clear, everyone? Very simple, very basic topic. So select the area, right? Text to column and select this option. I'll quickly do one thing. I'll quickly give you the screenshot also so that you remember this thing. Although we already have a recording, so that's absolutely fine. And then in this column, you can do step 2 and you're done. Okay. All right, everyone. So pay attention on the screen. Now we have to separate the name. Now in the name, what is there? What is a separator? Space is a separator. But see what will happen now. If I select this, now this time I will not select the header. Remember, is this time I will not select the header. Otherwise, I will have a full and name as a separate. But it's okay. I can select this one. I can go to the text to column, the default window delimited, which is fine. Next. Now, what is your separator available here? Space. Is it available in the list? If it is available in the list, tick here and tick the other things. Now you are in a step 2. If I do finish, see what happens. There is already data. If you press OK, here you go. What has happened? The data is separated and it has overwritten the data. So which is incorrect, right? We have lost our other data. So what is the solution for this? Pay attention on the screen one more time. Step 1, select the data and go to text to column. Step 1. Step 2, select the space. Go to step 3. Next. Click on next in order to get the step number 3. Look at this. What is the destination here? C6. Where we are looking the data, where we are looking the answer, we are looking answer in a E6. So what I will do, I will remove this C6. Okay, I'll delete this one and I will select with the help of mouse. I will select E6 and now press finish. Here you go. You have the question and you have the answer here. The question is full name. The answer is separated name. Everyone, is this clear? So in this case, step number 3 is important. What is step number 3? In step number 3, you have to change. You have to give a new destination. You have to give a new destination. And what is the new destination? You can give anywhere in Excel. Huh? So you are in a step number 3 and the destination is E6 and then press finish. Can we get the output after full name? In that case, you have to add some additional column, the blank columns, right? Definitely you can get. In that case, what you have to do is you have to create a additional column. How you can add a column? Do you remember the shortcut key? How I can add a new column here? Alt I, C, and now you can try. And now you can do this action. You don't have to go to the step 3 and you will have answer here. You can definitely get. But let's say you don't want to disturb your data. You want to keep the question so that you can see the answer, whether it's a correct or not, right? So in that case, use the step number 3 option. So both options are correct. Depending on the requirement, you have to take a call. Now pay attention on the screen. I'm in a file 2. I have a task here to separate this information, invoice, product code, and the product description in a 3 different column. Tell me what is a separator here. In this case, is space. Definitely, I would have gone in the same way. If I do space, the first is correct. If I do space here, the second is correct. But what happens with the third one? So bakery and bread, this I want to keep it as a 1 value. If I go with the space, then this will also be in a separate column. If I go with the comma, then this will be a different, this will be a different, right? So there is no fixed pattern here. So we cannot say space is the right option. Space is correct for column number 1 and column number 2. But for column number 3, we want to keep everything as a 1 value. Okay, so what is the solution here? The solution is look at from the left hand side. Now, very specific thing, very precise from the left hand side. If you have a fixed character, what do you have? You have a fixed character. Like look at this. In the invoice, how many characters you have? You have a 6. In the product card, how many you have? 3. And the remainings are the description. So from the left hand side, if you have a fixed character, then you can select the second option. Now pay attention on the screen. I'm selecting this data without header. Okay, remember, I'm not selecting the header. I will go to the data tab. I will go to the text to column. Now side by side, I'll also explain you a shortcut key. So what is the shortcut key for this? For this, the shortcut key is Alt DE. Okay, this shortcut key is mentioned here, so nothing to worry. The shortcut key I've already mentioned here, text to column. Look at this, and with the proper example, I will also refer where the shortcut key is. Okay, so I will select this area. I can press Alt DE, a shortcut key. This window will appear. See, Excel is suggesting me something. Excel is saying, okay, based on your data, you should go for the second option. What is that second option? Fixed width. I'll go with the Excel suggestion. I'll keep the fixed width. I'll press on the next. Now look at this. Here also Excel is suggesting me some good options like, okay, you have column 1 and column 2. But let's say if you are not happy with this separator, you can double click on this and remove. Now you can single click on this and you can create your own columns. So I've created column 1, I've created column 2, and rest everything I put in the column 3. I can have n number of columns here. That's definitely not a problem. No hard and fast. So here you have a 3 columns. Again, should I press finish or should I change the destination? Destination, finish. What happens if I do the finish? Finish is the right. But what happens if I do the finish? See what happened. I have lost my original data. Remember this line. I lost my original data. What is preferred here is go to the step number 3 and always try to have a destination, new destination, so that you can check your question and you have the answer here. Remember, that's not incorrect. You can definitely do the finish. But what happens sometimes you want to see the result and you also want to see the original, right? So in this case, you need to select the third option and change the destination. I'm in a file tab number 3. So pay attention on the screen. You have given a task to find out day, month, and year for this particular date. Now, very common and useful text function. So what is a day for this date? 22nd of January 2017. So we want to see the day here, right? Month, you know, JAN, but I want to see the in terms of alphabet. Year, you already know it's a 2017. So there are 3 formula I'm going to show you. Pay attention on the screen. So first formula is a text. First argument is a value. I want to extract a day from A6, comma. So how you want to see the day? In a double quotes, 1, 2, 3. 3 times D, double quotes close and hit enter. You have a Sunday. Acha, 22nd of January was a Sunday. If I put 4D here, you will have a full name, Sunday. And if I put only 3 name here, you will have a only SUN. Very simple. Now guess what would be the formula for month? If I want to extract a month, how many M, comma, if I do double M, we'll definitely try with the double M. So you have a 0, 1, but I want to see JANFEB. Now tell me how many characters? So I will have to put 3M. So if I put 3M, I have a JAN. And now what happens if I put 4M? It will be the full name. Now if you can select this one, double click on this. You remember autofill? We learn about the autofill, Jan, Feb, March, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on. Now, so I want to extract the year. For year, we have a ready-made formula called as a YEAR year. And then I'll go to this year. And why I'm using this? Because I want to extract this in the form of number. So the third formula is year. You can use text also. There is no hard and fast rule for the text, but year is usually extracted in the form of number. So you have to use this formula. All three formulas are clear. The text formula for the day, text formula for the month, and year formula for the year. Okay. Let's move to the some complex example. So I am in a tab number 4. Look at the task. For contract employee, you have this employee list available. You have a two type of employee. People who are working on a contract and people who are working on a payroll. Now, what your management is saying, okay, it's a Diwali time or it's a Christmas time. Let's give some gifts to our employee. But you have decided two type of gifts. One, a t-shirt, and one, a helmet. Now, what has happened? Like, okay, you have given a list and you have to pass this information here. But remember, you have to provide a t-shirt here to those who are working as a contract. And those who are working as a payroll, they will get a helmet. So clear, everyone, the task is clear. So how many possible answers are here you are expecting? You have to provide a gift to contract people as a t-shirt and gift to the payroll people as a helmet. Okay. So in this K6, how many possible answers you are expecting here? Two possible answers. But at a time, what would be the answer? It's only one, right? And that depends on column G. Yes or no? Exactly, that depends on the column G. So first what we'll do, we are going to do some logical test here, right? So pay attention on the screen. So I'm going to do a logical test. I'm going to check, okay, whether G6 is equal to contract. Now, what happens here? I'm trying to compare the value of G6 with contract. So if these two informations are same, then you will get answer as a true. If this information is not matching, then you will get answer as a false. Is this clear, everyone? This logical test is clear. Now, in this case, what would be the answer? If I hit enter, what would be the answer for this? It will be true because G6 has a contract and I have written here contract, right? So it will be true. Now, if I double click on this, look at this. You have a true, 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 false. Now, why you have false here? In the fourth line, why it is showing false? Because it's a payroll. So you will have a false for the payroll and you will have a true for the contract. Now, your task is to replace true with t-shirt and false with helmet. So you have to replace true and false statement, true and false value, right? Okay. So pay attention on the screen, everyone. So this is a very important formula which you will find everywhere, right? So this statement, this logical test, I will put this logical test in a if formula. Where I'm putting this logical test in a if formula, comma. Now I have a second argument. If this statement is true, then give t-shirt. Else, if this statement is false, then give helmet. Is this clear? Now try to read this. So this is a logical test. This logical test will have a possible answer as a true. If this is a true, t-shirt will be applicable. If this is a false, helmet will be applicable. Okay. And now if you hit enter, look at this. So you have a if formula here, you have a t-shirt for the contract people and you have a helmet for the payroll people. Can we do with the conditional column? Conditional column is available in a Power Query. Here you have to apply the formula only. Conditional column is not available in Excel. You have a conditional formatting in Excel, but for conditional formatting, you have to get first this information, right? Now, what is the other question? Please, can you write the formula? Yes, we are writing the formula. You can definitely have a look here on the top. So what is the formula? And I'm also doing some color coding, nice color coding. So you can understand, okay, what exactly is happening here. So this is a one argument. This green is a second argument and this blue is a third argument. Okay. Let's take some more example. I'll make it just simple one. What is a task given to you is you are working as a payroll specialist. So you have been given, okay, these are the people who have worked with us on these many days. Now I'll say, okay, go ahead, Shubham, check if they are working on a Sunday, then give them extra 100 rupee. So do we have any column here for Sunday? It's only for Sunday. I'm just taking one. There is a Sunday or Saturday, but let me keep this as a simple. No, there is no column as a Sunday. How I can get Sunday here? If I want to get the Sunday from this, which formula should I use? We have to create a formula called as a text. So text formula will help me to return triple D formula of not MMM, triple D, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Now pay attention on the screen, a very interesting example, and you will definitely like this example as well. So this is my Sunday. So this formula is returning you what? What is the result of this formula? Only A6. What is the result of this formula? Tuesday, correct? What is the result of this formula? Tuesday. What I'll do? I will do check here, logical test. I'll say equal to Sunday, whether the result of this formula is Sunday. If it is Sunday, then what you will get? You will get true. If it is not Sunday, then you will get answer as a false. I hit enter. It says me false. Definitely it will return me false. Why? Because the result of A6 was Tuesday. Now if I do double click here, oh, I can see there's a true here. Now why it is true here? Because 6th of November, which was yesterday. Yesterday was a Sunday. Maybe this is a future. We are just assuming this is like a dummy data. So 13th of November is also a Sunday. So how many Sundays we have found here? How many Sundays in an entire database? We found only 2. Now what is your task? Your task is to replace true with 100 and false with 0. We have to replace true with 100 and false with 0. So what I will do, I will put this entire part. I'll put this entire part into if statement. So this is my logical test. I am doing a logical test here and I'm saying, I'm putting this into the if formula. I'm saying, okay, if this is true, comma, then do one thing, pass the 100 or give 100 rupee to that employee, comma. If it is not true, if it is false, then give it 0 rupee. Close the bracket and hit enter. So you will get a 0 here because this was definitely not a Sunday. Double click, see 100 rupees given to this person, 100 rupees given to this person. Interesting this one, without adding a new column, we have added the formula inside the formula. Now this is called as a nested formulas, complex formulas, right? Easy to understand. If you go with the step by step, instead of writing this entire formula, this becomes difficult. But when you go with the step by step, definitely you will find it very easy and simple. So this is my logical test. This is my true value. True value is a green. I will put it as a green 100 rupee and red I will put as a 0. Easy? Yes, definitely very easy. Now we'll go to a little complex example. Pay attention on the screen. First, what is a condition? Let us understand. Apply the 10% bonus. Just 10%. I'm expecting here as a 10% bonus when the sales is greater than 500. So is this person is eligible for bonus? As per the condition, when I say sales is greater than 500, then give a bonus, right? Look at this. I'm saying greater than 500. So what is the value of this person? It's a 542. So he's eligible, right? He's eligible for bonus because he has a score 542. And our condition is greater than 500. It should be. So I think this one is not eligible. 298. This is not eligible because he is less than 500. But we have another condition. What is that? Along with the score, the gender should be female. So this extra benefit is given to the female employees. Okay. So if female is doing 501, then she will get 10% bonus. But if the male is doing 501, then he will not get anything. Clear this one? So what are the two conditions we have? First condition is this should be greater than 500. And second condition is gender should be equal to female. Are you all clear with this? Two conditions. Now I have a question. Tell me, is these two conditions are compulsory or optional? Compulsory. And for that, we are going to use and. So let us put the condition first. So I have an and. Maybe I can zoom it a little bit and I will try to hide this thing for a time being so that you can have a maximum view on the formula. Okay. So I'll do here an and. Logical one is this equals to female. What I'm saying is this equals to female. If it is correct, then give me true. But at the same time, check if this is greater than 500 and close the bracket. Now, in order to get this will, let's say this will return me true and this will return me false. That means one condition is met, second is not met. So final answer is false. So in order to get true as a final answer, what we are expecting? In order to get true, both true, right? This should also met, this should also met. The agent should be female and she should have, like a score greater than 5. So both are true, then you will get a true. If one is true and one is false, then you will get a false. So now let us check here. So this is false. It is 542, but he's a male. So not eligible. So look at this. We are saying this is true. 691, yes, one condition is met. Condition 2, female, both are met. You have a final as a true. Look at this. Again, condition is female and 685. Look at this. Female 884. Look at this. Suman, female 585. Everyone clear this? How this and is working? You can have an n number of conditions. Remember, in order to get the true, all conditions should be satisfied. All conditions should be met. If all conditions are met, then you will get true. If one of the condition is fail, then you will get fail because you are using and operator. And why use and? And use for the compulsory. And is used for the compulsory and use for compulsory condition. Okay. Now what is the next part? We want to replace this logical test with the formula. So wherever there is a true, we are looking for 10%. Where there is a false, we are looking for 0%. So I will go ahead and I'll put this in a if formula, comma. If this is true, then give a 10%. If this is not true, then give a 0%. And close bracket and hit enter. Everyone clear this? Yes or no? Is this formula is clear? So you don't have a direct logical test this time. We have to put the compulsory condition. I am going to write this again in some color code and let me know how it is working for you all. And double click here. You will see only 10%, 1%, 2, 3, 4. Because these 4 are the female employee and they have, like score more than 500. Do one thing. If I change the value this to 499, see, I'm not getting the answer here. Why I'm not getting the answer here? Because the employee is a female, but her score is less than 500. So one condition is true, one is fail. So final is 0. Clear, na? This one. And 0.1, I'll give you an answer for the 0.1, how you can convert this into percentage. So there is a small shortcut key you have to press. What is that? Control, Shift and % sign. Press this shortcut key. So what is the shortcut key? Control. It is written in our list. Control, Shift and % convert into % format. Okay. Everyone, please pay attention on the screen. I am moving to the next example. Very interesting. I'm definitely sure like you are going to like this example. Okay, pay attention on the screen. Now you have to give a bonus 10% here, or maybe extra payout, whatever it is, right? To the people or to the role who are agent or supervisor. So in the vertical part, I want to check two things, whether it's an agent or it's a supervisor. If I found any one of the thing is true, then I will give 100 rupee or 10%. If it is other than agent or supervisor, then I'll definitely not give anything. So tell me how you will look at this condition. Is this compulsory condition or is this optional condition? It's an optional condition. So we are going to use OR operator. OR operator is used for optional condition. So we have an OR operator. OR operator is used for optional condition. That means any one is true, that is fine. No need to make sure like everything is true. Any one is true, you are good to go. All are false, then it is a false. So I'll start with a formula. So I'll write a formula here is equal to OR. And I'll check, okay, whether this value F6 is equal to agent or in a comma logical 2. Look at this. I have in a logical 2. My logical 2 is if whether is F6 is equal to supervisor and close bracket. Hit enter. You are getting true because the first condition is true here, right? It is agent. So it will not check the second condition. If any one of the condition is true, second condition is false, not a problem. You will get output as a true. When you will get a false, in which scenario you will get a false? When both are false, output is a false. Yes. So if he's not agent, not supervisor, he's anything else other than agent or supervisor, then only you will get a false. Correct? So now if I double click on this, let us see. So it's a true, it's a true, it's a false. Look at this. Because he is neither agent nor supervisor. So we check supervisor and we check the agent. Look at this. So it's again false, it's again false, it's again false. Okay. Now I'll put this entire part into if condition. Okay, if this is true, remember, if this is true, then give 10% because we don't want to give anything to the manager. We definitely want to appreciate our agent and supervisor. If it is not, then 0%. Now 0.1, again, I got a 0.1 here. Is it correct or incorrect? No, it's definitely correct. So I'll have to just select this and press Control Shift and percentage. What I have to press here? Control Shift and percentage. Okay. All right. So now I am in the file number 8. The target is you'll have to find out the total sales for this. But remember, we don't want a total sales. We have learned the equal formula, right? Equal to sum. Equal to sum will return me the sales of this formula. But what I'm looking here is I want to see sales for only West. So I'm looking here as a conditional sum. I'm looking here as a conditional sum. So I'm going to explain you the formula, conditional summarize formula. The name of the formula is sum ifs. The name of the formula is sum ifs. So sum ifs, why I'm taking sum ifs? Because it works for single condition or multiple condition. Okay. Pay attention on the screen, everyone. So I'm starting in the formula sum ifs. What is the first argument? Try to read the inputs and try to understand the formula. This will help you to deal with the unknown formula as well. What is the first argument? It's range. What is it? Which range? Sum range. So you want to do a sum range, right? So what is your sum range? Where you want to do a calculation? You want to do a calculation in this column? You want to do a summation in this column? Yes or no? This is your first range, right? Now tell me, what is the second argument? Comma. What is argument number 2? Criteria range. What you are looking for? I am looking for West. And where West is available? West is available in this region, I6, comma. Out of this range, what you are looking for? Look at this word range. When I say word range, you have to give a range. When I say normal value criteria, then I have to put in a double quotes, I have to put here West and close bracket. Is this clear, everyone? Is this formula is clear? Pay attention on the screen. I'll quickly recap this. So you have been given a task to find out the sum range, array sum for the west region. So you have to do a sum of this column, but you have to go to this column and you have to find out the west. So the first argument is a sum range. The second argument is a criteria range. And the third argument is a criteria. Okay, very simple example. One more example here. Find out the sales for west region, but gender is M. How many conditions are here now? We have to fulfill two conditions. Sum range. What is the sum range here? Then we have a criteria range 1. Then we have a criteria range 2. And we have a criteria 1. And then we have a criteria 2. What is the sum range? J column. What is the criteria range 1? If it is a west. Then what is the criteria range on which column? Where the west is available? In the column I. Okay, so criteria is a west. Where is the gender? Where is the male is available? Male, female. It's a column D, and you have to find out male. Okay, so look at this. So this is your sum range. This is your criteria range 1, criteria 1, criteria range 2, criteria 2. All right, now let's put this in a formula. Everyone just pay attention on the screen. Sum ifs. Look at the formula. Sum range. This is my sum range, comma. Criteria range 1. This is my criteria range 1, comma, and this is the west, comma. Criteria range 2 is my gender column, comma, and I'm looking for male employees. Close bracket and hit enter. You can put n number of condition here. There is no limit. You can try some additional conditions as well. This time I tried with a 2 condition. I have a first condition as a west, and I have a second condition as a gender male. Okay. All right. Now let's have a look here. Find out the count. This time you have to find out the count of west region. You have to find out the count for west region. So I am going to use the formula again. What is the formula I'm going to use? I'm going to use the formula Countifs. I'm going to use the formula Countifs. What is the formula? Okay, pay attention on the screen. Huh? It's a very interesting one. Achha, one question to all of you. If I want to do a count of west from this column, do I require this column J? Or yes, tell me, it is not required. Definitely it is not required. I can directly do the count on this, right? So pay attention on the screen. So Countifs, then you have this range, comma. One more thing I'm going to show you here. I am going to write this time west here. And then I'm going to write Countifs. This is my range for region, comma, and I will give a reference of L7. This time what I'm doing, I'm giving a reference of L7. So what is the answer? Answer is 7. Okay. So what is the difference between this example and the previous examples? What is the difference here? Here what we are doing, instead of writing west, we are giving a reference of this cell. So it's a example of a cell referencing. So we are giving a reference of a cell L7. Now what happens here? If I change to east, I have a 5. If I change to north, I have a 4. So I don't have to change the formula. I can just change the value here. Okay. So clear this one. So what is the repeating part here? So what we are doing is we are looking for count of this from this column for this value. So condition part is what? We have only 2 arguments here. The range, criteria range, and criteria. We don't require this part. So what we are saying, go to this column and search for this value. And in the L7, we return the west. Instead of writing west here, we are writing west in L7, and we have given the reference of L7. Okay. In the previous example, we have written west as in a double quotes. And this time, instead of writing this, we have given L7. And in L7, we return this one. Now we are going to start with the very important topic. And the name of the topic is VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP is what? So VLOOKUP is nothing but a vertical lookup. VLOOKUP is nothing but a vertical lookup. So you want to search something from a given data set based on a unique value. So the concept of VLOOKUP is like you have an employee ID here and you have a database here and you're looking for the city for this employee ID. So you have to write a formula here to extract some information. You have to write a formula to extract the information of a city or which city this employee belongs to from this database. Now this database can be in the same sheet. This database can be in another sheet, or this database can be in another workbook. Okay. Now, how many columns I have in my database? So you have 4 arguments. You have a lookup value, which is nothing but a searching value. This is nothing but a searching value. Then you have a table, that means a database. Then you have a result column number. This is a third argument, result column number. And then you have a match type. So just pay attention on the screen. You have to provide these 4 inputs. Now lookup value. Lookup value is a searching value. So this is going to play a role of a lookup value. Everyone is clear with this? Pay attention on the screen. It's a very important example. So this is my lookup value. Now this lookup value is available in this table. How many columns I have in my table? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 columns. But this lookup value is available, possible lookup value is available in which column? It is available in the employee column. So your table will be this much only. Your table will not be starting from A. From where your table will start? Your table will start from column B. Okay. And now count how many columns I have in my table. In my selection. In my selection, how many columns I have? Now I have a 9. Now tell me what is a column number for city? It's a 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is a 7. So you have a total 9 columns. Your lookup value is available in the first column and your result is available in the column number 7. Where is your sales is available? In which column your sales is available? It is available in the 9. Do not refer the Excel names. I am talking about my selection. Remember this word, selection. And now the last argument is a match type. So this is a result number. So lookup value is this. Lookup table is this. Then result column number is a 7. And the match type. So there are 2 types of match. One is a exact match and one is a approximate match. So I'm looking for a 1175. So I have a 1175. I have a 11750 and I have a 11175. Out of 3, which one is the exact match? 1175 is available in all 3, right? Which one is the exact match out of these 3? Second one is the exact match. So I'm looking for an exact match, not approximate match. Now just pay attention on the screen, everyone. Very simple example, very easy example. I'll start with the equal to VLOOKUP. How many arguments you have here? Lookup value, table array, column index number, and range lookup. Can I tell you one interesting thing? This VLOOKUP in Excel, same information, same concept in SQL is called as a joins. Same information in a Power Query is called as a merge. So if you understood a VLOOKUP here, then it's easy to understand join. It's easy to understand merge. This is why Excel is called as a mother of, like analysis or every tool. Everything is derived from here. If you understand the VLOOKUP properly, then this is clear. Then this is clear, right? Okay. So lookup value. So this is my lookup value. Remember, lookup value is always single value, comma, table array. If I select this would be the incorrect. Why this is incorrect? Because my condition says my table will start from a column where possible lookup value is available. So this is my right selection. I've written some arguments here. Look at this. So the first column of table array should contain the lookup value. Table is from left to right. Table is always from left to right. Now, comma, column index number, I'll give 7. Now, what is the definition of 7 here? It's a city. I'm looking for city. Don't put HIJK. It's a 7, column number 7, comma, 0. Now, what is mean by 0 here? So 0 is equal to false. False is equal to exact. So I can write 0 or I can write here false. Sometime you will see 0, sometime you will see false. Both are the same. If I hit enter, it says 1175 belongs to Delhi. Is it correct? Let's have a look. Oh, here you go. So 1175 belongs to Delhi. So this is a person who belongs to Delhi. So we have successfully got this one. And if I type here as a 1193, Raju belongs to Ahmedabad. If I type like this, 1500, now why I have got an error here? Why I have not received the value for 1500? What is the possibility? Why I have not received the 1500 answer? Invalid entry, not available in database. Very nice. Not present. Can't do anything. It is not available in my database. Something which is not available in my database, it is out of my control. Okay. So what I mentioned about the table array, what are the 3 things I mentioned about the table array? Table array can be in your same sheet. Table array can be in your another sheet, or table array can be in your another workbook. So this is an example of a same sheet. This is example of a same sheet. I am going to show you another example of a other sheet. Pay attention on the screen. So you have been given a task like Mohit, Ekta, you people are working in a MIS team, for example, right? I'm just taking some random names. So you have been given, okay, task, okay, please go ahead and find out the status of city, whether it's a metro or not. You will say where this information is available, whether this is metro or not. We will apply the formula. So you will say, okay, this information is available in another sheet, which is 012 data. And here is a small table where the classification is given, okay, whether Pune is metro, yes or no. So what is expected from you is get this answer of yes or no into this column. First of all, is the task is clear, everyone? Now tell me, what is the lookup value here? I have to apply the formula in this cell, in this yellow cell. So what is the lookup value? City is my lookup value. K6, I want a formula. Lookup value is what? H6. Is it clear, everyone? This is my lookup value. Now, where is my table array? In the next slide. And from where to where? From A to B13. Everyone clear with this? Now, what is the result column number? Now, result column number. I have how many columns in my selection? I have 2 columns. Which result I'm looking for? I'm looking for this. So column number 2. Again, do not refer the ABCD. Result column number, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And what is the match type? The last argument, match type would be 0, right? Now let's put the formula here. So we look up H6 is my lookup value, comma. Pay attention on the screen. I am moving to the next sheet with the help of mouse. I'll select the mouse and another sheet, and this is my table array. So once you select the table array, do not hurry to go to the previous sheet. Go to the formula bar. Where you have to go? Go to the formula bar, comma 2, comma 0, close bracket, hit enter. You have the answer here. So simple this formula. Look at this. So H6 is your lookup value. This is your table array. The table array is available in another sheet. Table array is available in another sheet. 2 is what? 2 is a result column number. You're looking for second column value here. And 0 is what? A match type. So when you double click on this, the problem is NA here. The problem is NA here. You have the answer for this, but you don't have answer for this. Allahabad is there, but why I'm not getting the answer? Now, what is the range? What is your range? A1 to B13. This is my range. This should be applicable to all the values. Look at here. What has happened with this? We have not given 1 to 13. We have given 1 to 13, but this has become 16 to 28. So this is incorrect. So what is happening when you go down? The reference is changing. When you're going down the reference, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 16. So what does this mean? I need to go to this reference. Very important. Pay attention on that. Let me zoom this one. I love to go to my formula. I have to select this part, and we have covered the reference part, cell reference. You remember the cell reference? What you have to press here? We have covered this cell reference. When I was showing you the formula of sum, so you have to press here F4. What you have to press? F4. So the moment you press F4, you will see there are dollar signs here and there are dollar signs here. Now what does this mean? A1 is lock and B13 is lock. And now hit enter and now double click on this. You will see the answer is there. When cell reference is common, need to lock. F4 is used to lock cell reference. Now, why to lock this? So I'll explain you here quickly. Pay attention on the screen. If I say is equal to, maybe I can write here is equal to J6. So I'm referring to J6 everyone. If I copy this formula and paste here, what will happen? Will I get the same answer? I'll not get the same answer. Why I'm not getting the same answer? Because here I'm referring to the second left cell. So it will follow the same pattern. It will refer to the second left cell, right? Because it's a relative reference. It's a relative reference. So now pay attention on the screen. If I keep the cursor here and press F4, and if after that, if I copy and paste here, you will get the answer like this. So you are locking the reference. You don't want to change this. Wherever you copy the formula and paste anywhere, the reference will be always J6. That's why we are using F4. So try to press Fn and F4 if you're using keyboard, or you can put the dollar sign manually as well. Is this clear, everyone? Why F4 is required? To lock the cell reference so that when you copy the formula and paste to somewhere else, look at this now. What is the range? A1 to B13. Earlier it was changing, but now it has not changed. Why? Because we have locked it. We have locked. When the cell reference is common, need to lock. F4 is used to lock the cell reference, or Fn F4. Press Fn F4 for laptop keyboard. I've given you this notes here, so you can definitely refer these notes. F4 cell reference. Cell reference is something like which is very common practice, or which is very like required practice when you are dealing with this one. Convert data into tables. We have learned about the pivot table, right? But it is a little different from the pivot table. So sometimes, like you want to do a data formatting. Sometimes you want to do a data formatting. Sometimes you want to add some nice colors and everything, right? Proper combination, borders, different headers, right? So you want to do a data formatting. So I'm going to explain you a topic, data formatting and table in one go. And it's a very simple topic. And there are some benefits as well. Pay attention on the screen. I'll keep my cursor here and I will press a shortcut key, Control T. What is the shortcut key I'm going to press? Control T. You will see this window here, create table. And this asks me, okay, this is your range. I'll say, yes, this is my range. Do you have a header on this range? I'll say yes and press OK. Here you go. See what has happened? A nice, beautiful color has been applied here. Yes or no? And this is not the end of the story. I'm going to show you some interesting thing here. So what happens if I apply any formula here in a normal data set? If I apply the formula, in order to drag the formula, what I have to do? I have to double click on this to drag the formula. Now here, look at this. I tried to add a new column here, bonus. Oh, see what has happened? The formatting has extended. It is dynamic formatting. One more thing, pay attention on the screen, is equal to this at the rate of sales multiplied by 10%. The moment I type this and hit enter, the magic, you will see the entire column has been autofilled quickly without doing the double click. Everyone, is this clear? How these two things are working, right? And this is not the end of the story. If you add a new line here, look at this. See, the moment you write a new line here, the formula is updated here. Acha, see, everyone pay attention on the screen. There are two things I'm going to show you. The moment you keep the cursor anywhere on this table, you will see this table design. Are you able to see this table design on the top? Open this table design and then you will see a nice formatted color here. Nice formatting here. I'll go with this golden color. I really like this gold color. So you can definitely have this one. This is not the end of the story. In the table design, you will see this insert slicer. Do you see this option insert slicer here? I'll select the insert slicer and then insert slicer. Let me take a role and press OK. So I have a role, agent, manager, and supervisor. Now see what happens. Interesting. This is not a pivot table. Remember, this is not a pivot table. It is just to give your user to apply the filter directly without using this one, right? So you can try by yourself this. Now, the last part, everyone pay attention on the screen, very last part. If I have to do a sum of this in the normal data, what would be my formula to do a sum of this? I have to write is equal to sum formula. Then I will write maybe J6, correct? Colon, and maybe I will write J21. Right? This is going to be my range. Now, this is a table. So there is some name of the table. So what is the name of this table? I'll go to the table design and look on the left top corner. What is the name of this table? Table 2. What is the name of this table? Table 2. And which column you are referring? You are referring a sales column in the table, inside the table, not in Excel. So pay attention on the screen. Huh? Where is my cursor now? I am in a main sheet, right? You will say how I can get that answer here. Pay attention on the screen. I'll type sum. What is the name of the table? I'll give a table 2. And in the table 2 square bracket, I will check, okay, which column I want to refer? I want to refer a sales column, close bracket, and hit enter. Surprise, without selecting the range, I am able to get the answer here. One more time, pay attention on the screen. Pay attention on the screen, everyone. Look at this, without selecting the range is equal to sum table 2. What is selected now? Do you see the entire table is selected? Square bracket. After that, give a square bracket. The moment you give a square bracket, it will give you the list of column available in your table. And what is which column I want to refer? I want to refer a sales column. So I'll give here sales tab. Press the tab button, close square bracket and close the round bracket. Do you see the column has been automatically selected here without giving the range? Hit enter. Now what happens? Look at this. If I add a new entry here, look at this. Is this automatically captured? This is a dynamic resize. The benefit of table is dynamic resize. So whenever you write a formula and some new data will come, you don't have to update the formula. The formula will be auto updated here. Now, Excel refresher and Power Query essentials. We will do some hands-on on the visualization, and then definitely there's one more example I'm going to cover about the if and else if. There's one more example I'm going to cover about the VLOOKUP. So this is what the Excel refresher we are going to cover. Nested if, VLOOKUP, another workbook, how to get, and visualization with Excel. We are going to learn about the column chart, line chart, and pie chart. And remember, this is the base. If you understand this correctly, this will help you where? In Power BI. This will help you a lot in Power BI. Then we are going to start with the Power Query introduction and essential, how to load the data, how to import data to Excel, how to fill blanks, how to split data, how to convert horizontal to vertical, and then definitely data quality check. Now, when to use column chart or a bar chart? Any idea? When to use column chart? This is the person A, person B, person C. In every chart, you have a y-axis and then you have a x-axis. So this is your x-axis, right? So yeah, definitely, but there is some specific data. So y-axis is definitely a vertical one, x is your horizontal one. So when I say x-axis, if your x-axis has a category, okay, you're trying to compare A with B. So A has score 100 and B has score 80, C has score 110. You're comparing score here. Y represent number, right? So maybe here 10, 50, 100, and so on. So when you're comparing a category part, right? When you're comparing the categorical variables, then you can use either column chart or you can use the bar chart to indicate the sales of a particular product. So in short, this is used for comparison. You're comparing A with B, you're comparing, right? So to see the bar where it is, and definitely it's for the easy presentation. Now look at this data. You have this data here. Now tell me which one is the highest selling product. You will need some time. You will have to spend at least a minute to understand, okay, which one is the highest. It's a phone or it's a chairs or something like that, right? A little difficult. In maybe 1 minute or 30 seconds, you will get the answer. But in a 10 second, the moment you see this data, in a 10 second, this become difficult, right? So in order to make the user easy under readable, what we do, we create a chart here. So there's a shortcut key which you have to press Alt F1. What is the shortcut key you have to press here? Just press the shortcut key Alt F1 and you will see a nice chart here. Look at this. Now, can I say easily chairs and phones are on the top without looking the numbers? Within a 5 second, I can say chairs and the phones are definitely leading the chart, or they are the top performer. Yes or no? This becomes easy. All right. Now I'm going to show you. This is my default chart. When you press Alt F1, what you will get? Default column chart. But I don't want a column chart. I want a bar chart, because see, what is the problem with the column chart? I have a many axes here. I have a many names here, and these names are not properly readable. In order to make it readable, what I have to do is I have to stretch this, something like this. Now tell me, is this readable in a one view? This become a very, like wider, very narrow. Yes, we can say this is a difficult, right? If you try to reduce the size, again, this will be a problem for our user. They'll not be able to read this correctly. This is a correct chart. If you have only these many, only 4 values, then this is very nice chart. You can say, okay, I have only 4 products and this looks nice. But how many products you have? You have around 10 or 15 products. I think 17 products. Now 17 products become difficult to read this, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to see the second version of the column chart. So for that, I'm going to press a shortcut key Alt IH. Which shortcut key I'm going to press? So in show all chart window. Okay. So pay attention on the screen, everyone. I'll press Alt IH. The moment I press Alt IH, you have the insert chart, show all charts window, right? So you can check here. You have all chart here, and recommendation is column chart, or this is a second bar chart. Cluster bar chart. What is the second chart? Recommended is a cluster bar chart. I'll press OK. All right. Now just look at these 2 charts, this one and this one. Tell me which one is more clear and readable, the column or a bar? Bar chart. Look at the names. Look at the labels. They are more readable compared to this. Like rotate your head 90 degree possibly to read this one. Yes or no? Try to read this. You have to rotate the head, right? So see, this is not incorrect. I'm not saying this is incorrect, but when you have a more, labels, then bar chart is the good option. But when you have a less labels, then definitely column chart is a good option. You got the comparison. You both are correct. You can't say like this is wrong and this is right. This is just to make your user more readable part. So everyone clear with this? These 2 charts. Okay, now pay attention on the screen, everyone. I'm deleting this column chart because now we will be more focusing on this bar chart, okay? But I've already explained you. You can definitely have both. If it's a less number, you can go with this. Just pay attention on the screen. Now, total is not helping me out. Now, first of all, while you do the formatting, it is something like you need to select that particular element. Now, how you can say which is the which element? So if you click on this cursor, if you keep the cursor on this, what do you see? Where is my cursor now? Which part is selected? It's a series. If you're not able to do this with the help of shortcut key, you can select the data and then you can go to insert and you can check it from here. So this will also return the same thing. Quickly pay attention on the screen. I'll show you what exactly I'm trying to do here is. First of all, I'll try to, remove the title. I'll select the grid lines. This one, I'll remove the grid lines. I'm selecting these bars. I'm selecting this bar, format data series. Now I'll try to increase a gap width. And you can increase the gap width. Okay. Try to keep this much. This looks nice, better. Not 60. This one is okay. Clear this? Okay. Now pay attention on the screen, everyone. What I'm selected now? What is my selection? My selection is chart area. So if I do right click, I'll see the format chart area. I'll go to the border. My current border is a solid. I will make it as a solid border, which is already there, but I will make a rounded border. Look at this. This looks better now. Nice. Third option, I will select the bar, right click, and on the top, look at this. So right click and on the top, I'll change the color to a golden color. This looks again nice here. And then finally, I'll do right click and then I will add a labels. So here are my labels. Okay. The labels looks very big here. So possibly I will reduce the size of the labels, or maybe as of now, I'll delete the labels. 3, formatting. Formatting 1, increase the gap width. Formatting 2, change the color. Formatting 3, make it as a round corner. You have this monthly data and you also have a yearly data. So you have a 3-year data for this month and you want to show this information into chart. Any guess which chart would be the best chart here to show this kind of data when you have to show Jan, Feb, March performance? I'm talking here about time. It's a time related thing. So I'm talking about weekly data, monthly data, yearly data. When you say time, it's a line chart. Do you see? Have you observed this in the stock market? You have a line chart. You can see the trend, how the sales is going on, performance, how the trend is going on. Is it upward trend or it's a downward trend? Like stock is going down, price is getting down, like down or prices is trending. So when it comes to x-axis, remember now, when your x-axis is a time, so you're talking about the month, week, year, daily, weekly, right? I'll go to the insert tab. Now this time the default chart will not work. So I'll go to the insert tab and I have a line chart, but I'll prefer to go this one, line with marker. I'll prefer to go with line with marker. See, there are 2 options, the first option and the 4th option. So I'll go with the 4th option. This is which chart it is? Line with marker. Look at this. So this is how your performance looks like. So this is your performance looks like. I'm going to show you some formatting option here. So this block is for my 2013, 2014 and 2015. So we can see there is some dip every year in the month of January, but again, there is some increase after the month start. So I will click on this. Which part I've selected now? Tell me. I've selected the line. Nodes, I've clicked on the nodes, or in short, I can say the lines. Just as of now, I'm explaining. So as I mentioned, when I explain, just focus on the screen. So I've selected this one. I'll go to the format data series. It's a data series. Okay. So I'll go to the line here, and in the line, I have a smoothed line. Which option I have to select? Smoothed line. So where I got this option, I've selected this nodes, or we can say the lines. Now, and the right click, after you do the right click, you will have the format data series. And in the format data series, in the very first option, go directly to the last part, you will see the smoothed line. Okay. Now I'm going to show you very interesting part here, how to show the trend line here. I'm going to show you how to show the trend line here. What is mean by trend line? I want to see this performance is going up or this performance is going down. So there must be some trend, right? So I want to show the trend line here. After I do right click on the, first I have to select the lines. First, I have to select this line and do the right click. Do you see this add trend line option? Click on add trend line and you will see there are multiple options. So I will go with the linear trend and then you will see small dotted line here. This gives me an indicator. Okay, overall performance is moving up. Overall is the upward trend. Now the final part. I'm not happy with the background design and I want to change, but I'm not going to do this again and again. When you select this chart, you will see the chart design on the top of the ribbon. I go to the chart design. I have a very nice chart here, some different and beautiful designs. I can definitely select this one. I like this dark mode, or maybe this blue. This is a gray. This is not good. Why this is not good? So much exactly not readable. So much information. Something like you want to show a very light and nice one, right? So something like you can go with this. I like this one. Maybe you have some different choice. You can definitely go with the different choice. So you can definitely change some background and all that. This is a shadow, kind of a lightning. Looks very nice. So you have this data here, segment wise performance. This is my total sales possibly. What is the total sales? Somewhere around 11488,572, a big number. And I want to see how they are distributed. What I'm using the word here, distribution. I'm using the word distribution. So I don't want to show the comparison. I know consumer is also my entity. Corporate is also my one of the entity. And this is also mine, right? So I want to show how all they are performing. So what is the best chart here? Pie chart. So we want to see, okay, what is the performance of consumer, what is the performance of home, and what is the performance of corporate. So how we can do that? I'll keep my cursor on this anywhere. I'll go to the insert. I'll go to the pie chart, and you can go with the 2D or you can go with the 3D. So I would like to go with the 3D. So 3D looks better. You can have two different. I've just given you this sample also. Some interesting things I'm going to show you here. Very first thing, what we will call this. What is this? This one is a legend. These ones are the legends. Okay. So legend says like, okay, blue is the consumer, yellow is the amber is the corporate, gray is the home office. But this becomes difficult to read. Yes or no? You have to first see here and then check what is the value. It's a little difficult, right? So what I'm trying to show you here is, instead of consumer here, we will write consumer inside this. We will write corporate inside this, and we will write home office inside this. That will be more easy if we move this label into the pie chart itself, right? Okay, how we are going to do this? Let's have a look. I'll first select this and delete. I'll delete that legend. I will select this pie chart. by just single click. I will select the pie chart, right click on this. And do you see the format data series? In the format data series, I'll go to the format data series. Before I go to the format data series, I'll do the right click and I will add a labels here. I'll add a labels. So labels has been added. You can definitely increase the size little bit. You can stretch this. So I have a label. What I did, I have added a label. Now I know this is the 35 or 351 or 35 lakhs. There's a 21 lakhs and there's a 58 lakhs. But I want to see what exactly this information is for and what is the percentage of this information. So I will select the labels. Right click. And do you see the format data label? Right click and format data label will appear on the right hand side. Then you have a value. Apart from the value, I will add a category name. Here you go. So this is a corporate and I will also add a percentage. So corporate is contributing 30%, home office 19%, and consumer is the biggest contributor in my total sales, which is around 51%. Now, very easy for my user to understand how I'm doing here in terms of all three segments. Here, what is my target? My target is to give us a rating. So I'm going to explain you about the nested if formula. So what is a nested if? So I have given a task, okay, give a rating to these employees based on this table, okay? So what is this? Like if their sales are between 0 to 300, so it's a very bad performance. If it is between 300 to 600, it's an average performance. And if they've done sales between 600 to 100,000, then it's a good performance, right? So what is our target? We have to provide this information here. Everyone task is clear. I'm going to repeat the example if else. So we have to do a logical test and we have to pass the information here. Before I go to any formula, 0 to 300, can I say less than or equal to 300? Is nothing but a 0 to 300. 0 to 300 is nothing but a less than equal to 300. 301 to 600. If I write less than equal to 600, and if I'll ask you, okay, tell me 250 will go in which bucket? Bucket 1 or bucket 2? If I go with the sequence, checking from top, it will go to the bucket 1 because your search will stop here because this 250 falls in the bucket 1. Now, point number 2, if I say you have a value of 350, tell me where it will go if I go from the top, bucket 1 or bucket 2? It will go to the bucket 2. It will check the first bucket. No, this is not a correct. This is not less than 300. So this information is a false. Check the second condition. Second condition is whether this is less than 600. Yes, it is true. So it will fall under the 600. And if I write here, let's say 750, then where it will go? I have only 2 buckets here, 2 logical tests, but I have a 3 rating. So what would be the rating for this 750? So I'm saying 750 falls where? It's in a good. See, first I will check whether 750 less than equal to 300. Is this true? False. Then I will check 750 less than equal to 600. Is this statement is true? Again, this is a false. So if this is a false, then by default, the person has done the good. We will not have any third logical test. Remember, so how many possible answers we are expecting here? 3. No, 3 possible answers, but out of which only 1 will come. That is true. That is again true. So out of 3, only 1 will execute, right? So we will do logical test 1, then we will do logical test 2, and then the rest we will put everything here. So how we are going to do this? Let's have a look, everyone. So J6, we are going to check J6 less than equal to 300. Now tell me, is this correct? In this scenario, is this information is correct? Is this information is less than 300? No. But let's say if it's a true, if it's a 250, for example, then this will become a right answer. Yes, this is correct. If it is a 250, then it's a correct. So what I'll do comma, and I will say, okay, if this is a correct, then this is a very bad. If this statement is true, then pass the bad value. Okay. Comma, if this is fail, for example, this is fail. So maybe I can put it here as a 576. Now what has happened? This is fail. So in this case, what I will do, I will check the another if. So I'll start with the another if. Now you'll ask me why this another if. So this if will come into picture when this is fail. If this is true, no further search. But if it is false, it will go and check the another test. What is another test? I'll say, okay, this value is less than 600. Do the logical test. If this is true, comma, then pass the average value, comma. Let's say this is also fail. So what is remaining now? This is fail. This is fail. Then what does this mean? In terms of value, what does this mean? It's a good. Now, in terms of value, what does mean? This means like the sales is definitely greater than 601, right? Can I say this? If this is failed, it is something like but it is greater than 600. So I will pass the last argument here as a good. Okay, I know when both conditions are failed, then definitely the value is above 600 and you just pass the good for that value. Closing bracket for second if and closing bracket for last if. Now look at this formula. Closely look at this formula. Okay, look at this. If logical test 1, answer is, if it's a true, pass this. If this is fail, then second logical test will come into the false of the first statement. We'll check another check. If this is true, pass this one. If this is also fail, then we don't have any do the logical test. We know like by default, it is definitely a good. This second closing bracket is for second if. This last closing bracket is for the first if. Clear this formula, how this is working. Good, average and bad. So this is my first if, this is my second if, and this is my third if. Actually, I made opposite. So green, average and good. I'm going to show you a VLOOKUP with the another workbook. So we are going to see some advanced version of a VLOOKUP. I have this vendor ID. How many vendors I have? I have around, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vendors. Okay. So N01, VEN02, and so on. Now, at the same time, I will open the vendor CSV file. In the vendor CSV file, I have this information like VN, the velocity logistic, Seaborn, and so on, Voyage, Johnson, and Seahawk, right? What is your requirement? Your requirement is to get this information. Maybe I can do auto fit here and I will add a new column here. I will add a new column here. How I can add a new column between F and G, Alt IC. So what is your target is? Your target is to get the vendor name here. Your target is to get the vendor name in the column G. Vendor name is available in the other workbook, and that too is a CSV file, but it's in a tabular form. So your target is to get this information here, right? Now, if I try to write a if formula, it becomes very difficult. I have 2000 rows, right? But instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use which formula? VLOOKUP, vertical lookup, right? VLOOKUP is the base. What is the next? Then you have a append, then you have a joins, then you have a merge. Everything comes under a database. So pay attention on the screen how we are going to connect this. So in this case, we have a lookup value. This lookup value is F2. Lookup array, table array is in another workbook. That means this is my lookup array from this point to this point. What is a column number? What is a result column number? We are looking for what is the result column number. We have 2 columns here. So this is my result column number. And how I want to match last argument. Okay. So let's pay attention on the screen how we are going to create this. So I'll start with a VLOOKUP. Then I have a lookup value, which is a F2, comma. Then you have a table array. So how you will go to that sheet? So you have to keep open this file. You can keep the cursor here and select this sheet and select this part. Look at this. What is happening here? Look at this. You have a vendor CSV. Inside that, you have a vendor sheet, and inside vendor sheet, you have a A1 to B6 as a reference. So you have a complete address. You have a name of the file, you have the name of the sheet, and then you have a name of the range, right? So this is my table array, comma. Then I will give a column index number 2, comma, and then I will give last argument as a 0 and hit enter. So V001 is nothing but a velocity logistic. If I double click on this, I have all the proper names here. And now Power Query introduction. So what is mean by Power Query? So pre-request, it is available in 2016 or a later version. You can use in 10 or 13 by installing the Excel add-in. But I think now the latest news is also they've mentioned you need to upgrade to the Office 365. What you can do? 4 important factor here. Get and transform. When I say get and transform, you can get the data from table, from Excel, and from 70 plus databases. You can get the data from how many databases? 70 plus databases. You can use ETL. What is this ETL? You can, once you load the data, you transform the data, you clean the data, you convert your unstructured data to structured data and load back to Excel or Power BI. Okay. So what are the options you can do? You can click to the web database. So this is what is connected to the first point. You get the data from web databases, files. You can do the transformation, remove additional rows, remove duplicate, blanks, create tables, and a lot of things you can do, which I'm going to show you a few examples now after this explanation. And the final one is a refresh. Now, what is mean by refresh? When you get the data, every time you don't have to perform these steps. Once you get the data and you give a set of instruction, after that, only refresh and the work will be done. Overall, about what is this Power Query? 3 important factors. 1, get the data, use ETL, and then use the refresh. Very simple. Keep it simple. And it's a very easy to learn this part, right? So now let's start with the Power Query essential, which I'm going to explain in a file, Excel refresher and Power Query. Now, what is my target? My target is to fill this information. My target is to fill this information with the above value and get the result in this table here. So this is not the end of the story. In future, if the new data will be added here, I want result to be updated here. This time, the information is in the same file, but possibly in the future, this will be coming from the different file. So how we are going to do this? So keep the cursor on anywhere in the table, go to the data tab, and look at this from table range. I hope like you remember this we saw at the time of data quality check, right? So click on this table range. When you click on this table range, it says you, okay, this is your table. I will say, yes, this is my table. So I've loaded data to Power Query. So we have loaded data here, Power Query. We are not doing that quality check as of now. Now, three important factor here, three important things. One is definitely queries table. You will see the table 1, table 2 in terms of queries. On the top, definitely this is my ribbon part where I have a lot of advanced formatting options, which I'm going to show you. At least 5 options we are going to learn here. And on my right hand side, whatever action I'm performing here, that action will be recorded here. Okay, so now tell me very first part, look at this green line. What is this green line means? Everything is no error. But here in the name, you have a black line and green line. Now tell me what is mean by this black line here. Any guess? Or you have a black line here as well. Okay, empty. So you have a 3 color. You have a green, you have a black, and you have a red. If line is red, then there is an error. If line is a black, then there is a blank. Or green is okay, everything okay. Keep the cursor on this. Look at this. It will say, okay, you have how many empties are there? Look at this. Something is missing. 27. Now I want to fill this information. How I want to fill this information? I want to fill this information with the above value, right? Everyone. So I want to do a fill down here for both the columns. So I'll select both the columns with the help of mouse. Do you see this option? Fill and fill down. How I got this option? Select both the column, or you can select one by one. Fine. That's okay. I'm selecting to save the time. I'm selecting both the columns together and I'll press fill down. The moment I do the fill down, the data has been filled properly. And look at this. There's a new step called as a fill down. How we will get this output into the Excel? So go to the home tab. Do you see all everyone home tab? In the home tab, you have a close and load. So I will select this option, close and load to. In the close and load, you have to select which option, close and load to. Click on this option and you have this window. It says, okay, you want to see the output as a table. I'll say yes. Where you want to see the output? I'll say on my current sheet. On my current sheet where I want to see on maybe G5. Press OK. And here you go. The result has come here. Now let us add some new information here. Possibly I will add some information here. Let's say Raj, or maybe I will add some more information here. Varun, 100, 200, 300. Now what has happened? When we have created this, this was not there. How we'll get this information here, as I mentioned? So we have done get, we have done ETL part. Now the final is refresh. So keep the cursor on this, right click and refresh. And here you go. Without the formula. All right. Can I show you some more example related to the Power Query? So what are the three things? First is get data. Second is ETL. That means a transformation. Do the transformation. And third one is a load and refresh. So I'm in a file number 19. Very interesting example. Huh? Now you have this data vendor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these are the vendor code. So what is expected to convert this data something like this? So you have a vendor 1, then I'm expecting a vendor code here. So what is a vendor code? Vendor code is ABC, for example, and this is my vendor number. So this is what I'm expecting as an output. Okay. And then you have a vendor number as a A015, and then you have a B, and so on. So this is what you're expecting. The result is expected from you. Now, if I'll ask you, okay, please go ahead and give me this kind of result. How much time it will take you to do this manually? So much time, right? And then if you apply some formula, a lot of formula you have to fill here, right? So I'm going to show you how we are going to use. This is unstructured data. By the way, this is my unstructured data. I can't do any kind of formatting. I don't know how many voucher numbers are there for vendor 1. How many voucher numbers are there for vendor 2. But with this, I can apply the filter and get the answer here. This is my structured data. This is one structure. So let's have a look how we can convert this. Maybe I can keep this for the reference, or I can delete. That's not required. I'll go to data tab and I'll click on from table range. It will ask me, okay, do you have a table? Does your table has a header? I'll say yes and press OK. So I am in a Power Query editor. Now I can see there's a table number 3. So don't get confused with the table number 3. They all will go to the same Power Query editor because they are coming from the same Excel, right? So in this Power Query editor, you will have a multiple queries here. So if you select one, you can see the previous one is also there. Now this is a new one. Now tell me this voucher code and voucher number, how they are separated. Separator part, hyphen. Hyphen is the separator. Okay. I'll do the right click on this and I will split the column. Which option should I select now? By delimiter. Remember, so right click, split by delimiter. And you will have this window. So here you have to select custom. Now this is different from the Excel window. So in Excel, it has a different window. Here it's a different window. So I'll select custom and you have a hyphen here and I'll press OK. So look at this. So the vendor code has split and the vendor number voucher code has split. Now, what we want to do with this column, this is okay. This is fixed, but this is still not fixed. So what we want to do with this column, we want to again separate this. Now, what is the separator here? Comma. But remember, we don't want to separate this into column. We want to separate and move it into row. That is one below one. So select here the third column, right click on this third column, is split by delimiter. So it says space. No, I don't have a space. I will say go to the comma. I'll say go to the comma. After I select this, I'll say to the comma. And very important, go to the advanced option. In the advanced option, you will see instead of column, select row. And when you click on the row, press OK. Surprise, you can see the data has been vertically separated. You have now all three column fixed. There's a one more step we have to do. See, we are dealing with the unstructured data. So there is one more thing we have to do that we have to fix. You will see there are some spaces here. There are some extra spaces, which is definitely not a correct one. So what I'll do, I will select this column, right click, and then I will do the transform. Where I am, I'll do the transform and I will do the trim. What I have to do, I will do the trim. Now, what is meant by trim? Trim will remove all extra spaces. Remove extra space. So I'll click on right click, transform and trim. Look at this. All things are fixed here. We are not using a single formula. Everything we are doing with the help of inbuilt options. So this is why this ETL tool is very powerful. Now, what is the final thing which we can do? Can we rename the columns properly? So vendor code, double click on this, make just a vendor code here. And what is the second one? I think this will go as a voucher number. So I'll remove and I will do the proper naming here. So vendor code, voucher number. So far, so good, everyone. So we have a clean data. Now it's time to load this where? In Excel. Go to close and load to. It will give you this option. Pay attention on the screen, everyone, just for a minute. Table, then select the existing sheet and then give a new reference, maybe F5, press OK, and you are done. You have this clean data from this unstructured data without using a formula. If this is deleted, not a problem. Just right click, refresh, the data will come. And in future also some new value will come here that will be also taken care. So you have a vendor 005, you have a EdYoda as a vendor code, and then you have a like A123, B456, C789. So I have a new entry here. So after this, I'll do the right click and refresh. Look at this. You're done. Easy. Life become easy now with the help of Power Query, at least for the Excel. We'll see one more example. Are you ready for the final example? Very interesting. I'm sure you're going to like that example very much. So finally, page number 20, you have this tabular data. We call it as a horizontal data. If I'll tell you, okay, tell me what is the total for L2 and L3 for HR. Will you be able to filter this for HR, L2 and L3? It's a difficult. Why? Because you don't have a vertical data. If it is a vertical data, you will filter HR, you will filter L1 and you will filter L2. And then you will get immediately a sum, or maybe you can write a sum if formula. Maybe you can create a pivot table. But with this data, it is not possible. Why? Because this is a data, this data is a horizontal. This is good for presentation, but not for analysis. So we want to convert this information, something like this. So we are expecting result like this, maybe this information here, maybe this information here, kind of thing. Okay. And then I will say here as a grade, and then I will say this information here, and so on. And then I will say, okay, this will be my value. So this is what I'm looking for. So this is just a sample. So I want to convert my horizontal data into vertical data. So then we will have a L1, then we will have a L2, then we will have a L3, and so on. Then you can easily apply the filter. You can easily apply sum if, you can easily apply pivot table. So how we can create this one? Keep the cursor anywhere here. Go to data from table range. Do you remember this window? Do not forget. You have to click on my data as a header. This will always come very first time, not every time. Press OK. You are in a Power Query editor. You are in a table 6. So now my target is to keep this constant and to move this column one below one. So you have to select this column, first column, and then click on this unpivot other column. You have to click on unpivot other columns. Unpivot other columns. The moment you do the unpivot other column, look at this. A nice vertical data is ready. If you want, you can rename the columns, but if you are happy with without renaming, that's fine. Now close and load to where you want to see on existing sheet, somewhere in J5, press OK and you're done. Look at this. Your horizontal data is converted into vertical. Now you are free to select any of the filtering. You're free to select any of this part and here you go. Easy now? Yes or no? Compared to this is called as a horizontal data and this is my vertical data. So horizontal to vertical, we are not doing the transpose. Remember, we are unpivoting this. What we are doing here, unpivoting the data. So what is the agenda? So analyzing, applying all the concept learned till date in a mini class project. So today you have to complete a small class project, realizing the challenges. You have to realize what are the challenges you're facing when you work with the Excel, then graduating from Excel to Power Query. What do you think like, okay, if we can move this in a Power Query, how this is going to help us? And then definitely overview of a Power Query as a mature tool. So this one we have already, like discussed more about the Power Query, how to launch, what are the things we can see there. But still today also we'll see like, okay, if something we can do better in the Power Query compared to the Excel. These are the things you have to perform. These are the tasks. This is the data file. And what are the things you have to do? You have to find out the difference between order and ship date. So you have here order date and you have here ship date. So order has been placed on 3rd of January and product was shipped on 18th of January. So you have to find out the difference. So maybe you have to add a new column towards the end of this one and find out the days different. You have to think like how you can find out the days different. Quickly, I will tell you. This is a number and this is also number, and date is a number. In terms of number, date place, date is considered as a number. This one is a smaller number and this one is a bigger number because this is the latest date. Latest date is always a bigger number. Oldest date is always a smaller number. Now this hint I have given you so that you can find out the difference between two dates. Okay, that's a one thing. Then you have to find out the average days took to deliver product by each vendor. So you have how many vendors here? You have 5 vendors. So you have to find out, let's say you found the difference of these two is 15 days. So what is the average of that particular column? And that average you need to split by vendor. Then you have to find out total sales done, contribution by sales, contribution by ship mode. You also have to find out the return sales. Now this is your gross sales. This is your gross sale, but there are a few products which are written. So you have to exclude those values from the total sales. Don't worry, I'm also going to show you the solution as well. First, I want how many points you can cover. You have to check here. Top 5 subcategory, you have to find out what are the top sub 5 category by total sales. Then you have to also show category segment wise sales in a cross tabulated format. So what are the tools we would need here? So yeah, difference, text to column, VLOOKUP, pivot table, filter, logical statement, Countifs, SUMIFs, and then definitely we have required a chart here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can use these techniques, these Excel techniques, and to create a nice report and dashboard. So let's begin with the very first part. So we need to find out the difference, but we don't have a difference here. So what we'll have to do is we have to add a column here. The name of the column is let's say difference. Okay, or I can say days difference. Whatever you can give, that's absolutely fine, the name. And the simple solution for this is you can use two things. You can use dated if formula, or you can use simple ship date, which is a bigger number, bigger date, minus the smaller date, which is the oldest date. So the answer for this is simple this minus and then this. So D2 minus C2. Okay, for first record, it took around 15 days to deliver the product. So that was the first. Date difference was not working. So date difference is not a formula. Date difference is something like you have a dated if formula. Date difference is something like not a specific this one. So you have to between this one, you have to minus ship minus order to find out a day difference. So D2 minus C2. So this was the first one. We found a date difference between very simple and very easy. Now average days took to deliver the product by each vendor. Or there are two ways. So what is the first way? We have a vendor table here. I can find here directly average days. Which formula I need to use here? I need to use something like this average if here. But apart from this, I can get this information into this table. Now, second point number 2, pay attention on the screen. So average days. So you can take a average days maybe directly here by using the average if formula, or you can, like get a total number of days as well here, or you can get the vendor name where in an order sheet. So how I will get a vendor name here in an order sheet? The answer is VLOOKUP. So I will start here with the VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? My lookup value is vendor ID, which is E2, comma. I will go to the vendor tab. Now this is going to be my lookup table. You remember this? You have to do locking as well here. So you have to do a locking part here, comma 2, comma 0, and enter. So this is the first vendor. So comma 2, comma 0. You double click on this and you have a vendor name here. First, we will gather the information. So before we go to the average days took, we also check, okay, do we need anything else? So there was a one more question related by sales done by person. So we don't have a person name here as well. So can I get the person name also in the same way based on the region column, right? Again, I can create another VLOOKUP here for, I can create another VLOOKUP for person. So where is a person? It is available in this table, or we can say name, right? So based on the region, we can get the person name here. So in the order table, I can add one more VLOOKUP, and that VLOOKUP will target to the region column, comma, and then in the people table, this is going to be my lookup table here, and then F4, comma 2, comma 0, and hit enter. Look at this. So we are trying to get this information. So we are getting this information from the different table. So we are connecting this table with our order table with the help of this lookup part. So we have now vendor name available. We have now person name available. Now this we are doing in Excel. This we are doing in Excel with the help of VLOOKUP. The same thing can be done in a Power BI, and that concept is called as a relationship. Do you remember the word relationship? Relationship, one to many, many to one, data modeling, ER diagram. So this is something like I'm going to use the same database. So we can use the same thing when we are in Power BI. We can use the cardinality, but now we are in Excel, so we are using the VLOOKUP. So if you remember, I mentioned about the VLOOKUPs are nothing but a joins and like data model in Power BI, joins in SQL, right? So same thing we are doing here. So we have a date difference ready. We have a vendor name ready. We have a person ready here. Okay. So let's begin with this, and then we will discuss about the written part. What you can do is you can use multiple ways. You can either use a technique, sum if, count if, average if, or you can use pivot table. What you can use? You can use the pivot table here. Okay, so just pay attention on the screen how we are going to create a pivot table on this. So I'll keep the cursor on the starting point of my data set, and I will press Alt D P. You remember the shortcut key? Okay, so click next, and finish. Your first pivot table is ready. What are the two things we do with the pivot table in terms of formatting? So remember, right click, drag and drop, classic layout. Do you remember the classic layout? Right? So this is a classic layout I've created. Okay. Now let me check what was the first question. The first question was find out the average days to deliver the product by each vendor. So now I have a vendor name. Yes, I have a vendor name. I'll move the vendor name here. So here is my vendor name, Johnson Seaborn. This is my vendor name. And then I have a days difference. So I'll move the days different here. So what is the default calculation of a numerical column? It's a sum, numerical column. And for categorical column or for the text column, it's a count. For text, it's a count. Remember, for number, it's a sum, and for text, it's a count. But if we want to see this as a average, we want to see this as a average. So how we can get the average here? Right click and summarize value by average. And you can definitely reduce some decimal here. Keep the 2 decimal. Now we can say, okay, this is something like 815, 827. So 814 is the fastest delivery by Voyage Enterprises, right? So it's taking around average 8 days to deliver a product. So this was, you need to show this by each vendor and in a table and chart. So this you can definitely show in terms of chart. Maybe I can go and create this nice chart here. So here you go. You can see here. So Voyage is the lowest one, which is good for us, for our business, because the lowest is something like considered as a good. Highest is considered here as a not a good, because it's taking much time to deliver the product. So clear this very first part. So without this, if you want to show, you have to create a formula here. And which formula you will create here? The formula would be average if. So you can type here as a average days. Okay. Now you have to apply the formula average if. Okay. What you can do is, now this is a very big data. You're dealing with the big data. So do you remember one more thing I've explained you about the big data? You can refer, or you can convert this big data into tables, right? So that it would be easy for you to refer the range. But let's see how we can do without the table. So the formula would be average if. Okay, the formula is average ifs. So what is my average range? My average range is going to be my days different. Okay, comma. Then I have to go to the vendor ID. So this is my vendor ID, column E, and then comma, and then I will go and I will select the vendor 1, and here you go. So vendor 1 is a 8.35, And look at this here, vendor 1 is a 8.35. So we can definitely reduce the decimal to get the 8.36 here. So here it's a 8.36 for velocity logistic. For velocity logistic, it's a 8.36. So you got this answer here without form, without table, without pivot table. So what is this formula? Pay attention on the screen. It's an average if. So you're doing an average of a difference column. You are filtering the vendor ID column, and then you are using this vendor as a criteria. But it's going to be a very manual work. So instead of doing this here, I'll keep this formula active for you. But definitely instead of creating this formula here, what you can do is you can create this in a pivot table. Both are same. That's definitely not a big deal. You can definitely create a nice chart on this as well. So you can select this area and then you can definitely create a nice chart on this as well. Same thing you will get. That's not something like you will get some difference. The first two questions are clear, everyone. Find out the average days to deliver a product by each vendor. So this is my first answer. You have a both option. What you can do is you can do right click on this one and you can show hide all fields. So this become easy. If you want to do format of this, you can definitely go to design and have some nice, here you go. This looks very nice, clear. So voyage is 8.14, which is a very good in terms of delivery. And this is something like velocity. We will not give the contract to this logistic person next time. Okay. Now let's do one more here. Now what is find out the total sales and contribution by ship mode. Now total sales. What do you have to find out? Total sales and contribution by ship mode. So which concept do you think will be easy for here to find out this information? Again, can I say pivot? Yes, definitely. So I'll copy this one and I will create a copy of this pivot. Okay, the second pivot. Maybe I'll go to design and change the color here. So this time I'll move out. I'll move this out. So it was saying my total sales. So this is my total sales. Okay, a big number. I can definitely reduce the decimal. And what was the variable or what was the attribute they are saying? Ship mode. So do we have a ship mode here? Yes, I'll move ship mode into this. Here you go. Very nice. Sum of sales 3514 and so on. And how we can show this nice in a nice format? Can I show this in accounting format like this? I'll click on the comma separator and this one. Is this clear? Now, what is the next part? I want to show the contribution. How to get a contribution here? How to get a contribution here? We can do the pie chart as well here to show the contribution. Can we get this one column here, one more column here as a percentage of grand total? So there are two ways. So you are free to create pie chart on this. Maybe you can go with this pie chart. Definitely it's a good option where you have a graphical and this one as well. So you can right click on this, hide all buttons. You can delete this button maybe. You can add a label and in the label, you can do format label where you can show percentage as well as category name. And this will definitely be a nice pivot, a nice chart on this one, right? And if you're not happy with the colors and combinations, you are free to select the nice color here. So you can show the contribution. Definitely, that's a very good option. You can show the contribution like this as well. I'll show you one more way. So what is another way? You can show this. Maybe I will go to the pivot option, sales one more time. And second time it would be show percentage of grand total. And you can give a nice heading here, percentage contribution. Both are correct. Both are absolutely correct. So I'll not say, okay, this is right or this is wrong. So this is also correct. A different way of showing your data in terms of pivot and in terms of chart, a nice formatted chart, or in terms of table. Both are correct. So I'm sure like almost 50%, more than 50% has completed this. And then what I'm going to show you is I'm going to create a nice report or a dashboard from all these charts, right? This chart we will move in one of the new sheet. Okay. All right. So with this, we are able to complete our third one as well. Find total sales contribution by ship mode. Maybe I've not put the chart here, but you can definitely show the chart here. This one was a little tricky. How many of you have able to complete this? Or maybe we can take first this one. Find sales done by person. Okay. We will do this one. We will do 1, 2, 3, this 3. And in the last, I will show you this. Find sales return because it has some different calculation, right? So first, let us complete this one, 5, 6, and 7. So what is the solution for this? So you can definitely have this solution here. You can definitely remove everything from here. And then you have the person name. Yes, you have a person name. Here you go. So you have a Kelly, Tom, Susie, and Zara. All these people have completed the, this one. So maybe you can show them in a bar chart possibly this time. Let's take a bar chart, right? We can read the names. You remember I mentioned about you can read the name. Or maybe we can take a bar chart here as well, because there are big names, right? So what we can do is let's try to convert this into bar chart and see what happens. This looks very nice. Are you agree with this, everyone? Compared to the column, this looks nice, right? So let's keep this as a bar, okay? And let's keep this as a column. You have completed this in terms of pivot. That's also fine. And why we use the chart usually? The reason is very simple: to make our user more comfortable with the values and all these things. So maybe you can show this in terms of like this. So you have a tabular data, you have a graphical data to be more presentable. Otherwise, this is also correct. There is no hard and fast rule in this, like you have to show both together. Absolutely fine. If you're showing this and this, both are okay. Look at this. This also looks very nice. 8.14 and so on. What more you can do is you can sort this one. So you can do right click and you can do sort smallest to largest. And then maybe I can do reverse one, sort largest to smallest. Okay, so look at this. So Voyage Enterprises is coming on lowest one, then 815, 827, and so on. Again, choice is your. I would not say this is right or this is wrong. So definitely choice is absolutely your, how you can show this one. So we have a three nice chart here. One is showing delivery done by the in number of days, average days by vendors. Then we have a business overview or the sales overview by ship mode. Then we have a sales by person who is doing how they are doing. So Tom is definitely leading the chart with 7,25,000, followed by Susie, then Kelly, and then the very lowest sales by Zara. So far, so good, everyone. Is this is clear? Find sales done by the person. Acha, one more question before I go to the next example. Can I create this view without the pivot table? It is exactly same as a vendor tab. So can I create the total sales here? Yes or no? Which formula I have to use here in order to get the sales for Tom? The formula is sum ifs. So I'll go to the return tab. I will go to the maybe my total sales, comma. Then definitely I don't have a name here. So I'll go with the region, comma. And then definitely I'll give the region here, West. And here you go. Acha, I have to lock as well. Huh? Remember, you have to do the locking. That is F4. And here also it's a F4. And then done. You are done here. So you remember, you can do this here as well. You can do this here as well. Both are correct. I'll come to this one. Top 5 subcategory by total sales, or at least subcategory by total sales. Is this clear? How we can do subcategory? So I will remove the person from here and I will move subcategory here. But I have all the categories. I don't want to see all the categories. I want to see the top 5. How I can show the top 5? Look at this. There's a small filter here. Click on this small filter. And then you have this option. Look at this. There's a very nice option. In this filter, you have the sort filter value, and then you have a top 10. So I'll go to this option. Something like new thing I'm explaining you here. Top 10. Do you want to see top 10 or you want to see top 5? You can give top 5 and press OK. Here you go. You have a top 5 product. You can definitely do the sort in order to have more clarity. So these are my top 5. So it is dynamic. Remember, this is a dynamic top 5. After some time, if the table has some more sales, it will automatically go to the top, right? Everyone, is this clear how this is working, right? You can also have a nice chart here on this. Maybe you can, you can't create a tree map here. Tree map I'm going to show you in our, here you go. So you are free to change the design here. This time I'll take some light design, hide all, total I don't want. I just want to add a date on the top and that's it. Here you go. These are my top 5 subcategory performance. Maybe we should add a titles on all the tabs. Why? Because we are going to create a dashboard on this. And that will be definitely very interesting to show the dashboard kind of thing. So is this clear, everyone? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 nice answers here. Okay. The last one shows category and segment wise. So this is again very easy. So I'll copy here. It's a cross tabulated. Again, I will go to the new color schema. So it says category and segment wise sales. So category, I will move the category here. And then where is the category? Here you go. And then we have category and segment. Where is the segment? Here you go. We have a segment. Here you go. So we have a segment and this wise. This okay. Can we create some kind of chart on this? Yes, we can create also the chart on this. Now this I will show you the new part. So if I create this one, so this looks nice. Can I say corporate is always on a higher side for each category? These are my segment. These are my category. So is this very much clear, everyone? See, like any challenge with this chart or readable? I can say readable. Yeah, it's a readable. It's not. But there's one more way to make it more readable. And what is that? Here, there is a one challenge. I cannot see like, okay, furniture is on a higher side or office supplies on a higher side or technology is on a higher side. I cannot see the total of category. I can see that split by segment. but I don't see the total here. So this is a new thing. Instead of showing this chart, I will go and change chart to stack chart, which I will select here, stack column chart. Which one is the on a higher side? Clearly we can say technology. So what you can do is you can definitely show this, and if you want, you can change the design as well. Look at this, looks very nice and clear. You can add some nice labels here. The labels are not very much clear. So what you can do is you can add a label. I think you have to add label for all three one by one. And the problem here is labels are not that very much visible. So select the labels, go to home tab and click on black color. So legends are not looking nice here. So what you can do is right click, format legend and make it on the top. Here you go. So you have a consumer, you have a corporate, and green is a home office. So home office is definitely on a higher side in the technology and so on. Now tell me, this looks nice chart. Is this looks better, clear for my user? So I'm creating the tabular form. I'm creating the chart as well. So wherever you see you have this options, you can definitely go ahead and explore this one. Now let me show you something new. So I'm going to create here as a dashboard. So I want to create a small dashboard here. So I will do this one and I will try to place this 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Control C, Control X, and I'll try to place everything here. Okay, so this is my first chart. This is my second chart possibly here. And then we have a third chart kind of thing. Then we have a fourth chart. We have here as a fourth chart. We should definitely take one more chart. We can create one more chart so that our dashboard will have, like a nicer look. Something like this. You can definitely work on this one, formatting and everything. Okay, so this is how this looks. So I can reduce the size here. Pay attention on the screen. Huh? Very nice thing I'm going to show you here. And you can definitely have some nice background here in the something like this. Maybe I can go ahead and I can have the gray background. Yeah, I'll do one thing. I will move this here. I will move this here. Now this chart is all the static chart, right? Yes or no, everyone? All these are the static chart. Maybe I can add one more line here in order to add my title. So what I'll do, I will create a text box here. Now this is not something like very difficult. So what I'm doing here is I will type here as a sales performance overview. And this title looks very small. So what I'll do, I'll increase the size of this one. Maybe I can make it in a center. Just enjoy this, like how this is coming into the, like this, how this coming live, everything. And you have some icons here, something like I want to show you here to add a 2, 3 slicers, right? So how we can add a slicers. So what I'll do, I will add one more chart. And this was not a part of the question, but I'm going to show you here. What I will do, right click on this show field list. I will move everything out and I will move order date in. The moment I move order date in, I can see there are quarters, dates, month, and everything is there. Now, what is the point of creating this? You will ask me, okay, this was not a question asked, definitely not asked, but I want this year and month as a slicer. So what I'm going to do is insert slicer and I'll take a slicer of a order date. I'll take a slicer of a year. So I have a two nice slicer here. Okay. I'll copy these two slicers, Control C, Control X, and I'll try to put this on my dashboard. So maybe this is not a right sequence. So sequence 1 is for definitely for year. Sequence 2 is for month, and I will show here month in 2 columns. Yeah. All right. So look at this, how this looks now. We have created a nice sales dashboard here. But now you will say, okay, what is the point of creating this? When I click on this, nothing is happening here. That's correct. So we have not created this just as a static one, right? So we want something, what we want when the user will select on this, the data should reflect only for the selected month. Yes or no? So I'm going to show you two settings for slicer. Okay. For slicer setting, I don't want to show this value which is not available. So I'll do right click on this slicer setting, and then I will click on hide the item with no data. Here you go. We'll do the same thing for the second slicer setting, hide the item with no data. Now setting 2, very important. Select the slicer, right click. Do you see the report connection here? How it is coming, report connection? When you keep the cursor on the slicer, then this report connection will appear here. So click on this report connection and you will see something like here. Okay. So this slicer is connected with which table, which pivot table? Pivot 7. So we want to make sure like this is connected with all my tables. So what I will do, I will keep selecting everything here and press OK. Now you want to see the magic? Is something is happening? Has this become a nice report or interactive dashboard? It's a very, very commonly used concept when you are working to present your data, dashboards, and everything. Let's quickly come to the last question. What is that? Find the return sales and the net sale after subtracting the return sales. So we are going to use a logical statement and we are going to use the VLOOKUP for this. Okay. So first you have to find out the total sales. So this is what is my total sales. You have the ID here and you have a product. So what you have to do is you have to first of all find out this information. How you will find out this information? You're looking only for product ID. So select this, then go to data tab, go to text to column. Then you have maybe fixed width, we can say, because we have the sequence here. And then next, here you go. So this is clear. This is clear. Next, where you want to see the result, definitely not on A2. I want to see result on C2. Press finish. So you have a ID as a separate column and reason as a separate column. So can I say this is my order ID and this is my return for reason? This was a technique you have to use because the ID was not separate here. So text to column is a technique. Now what is your target? You need to connect this column with, you have to match this column with which column, or possibly this order ID column. Okay. So I will create a new column here, return yes or no. Okay. And maybe what I will do, I will have this column for a time being manually. I will shift it to the towards the last part. And then I will try to create which formula in order to get this return there. We look up. So lookup value, we have an order ID, then go to return table. So select this entire column, maybe that would be easiest way, 3,0. So now you can see there is a NA, but if you double click on this, yeah, here you go. So these are the return. So this is my return value. Clear this. This is my return value. So what we can do, there are multiple ways. So I'm going to create a quickly new pivot. Next, and then definitely I will say in a new sheet. So we have total sales here, right? So this is 22 lakhs is my total sales. And then I will move a return on the top, maybe this one. So yes means like what? What is mean by yes? These are the returns, right? And what is mean by NA here? NAs are not written, right? But NAs are not very much clear. Look at this. NAs are not looking very clear here. So I can say, okay, this is my total sales, 22 lakhs. And out of which 1,80,000 product has been written, and this NAs are nothing but my, I can say 21 lakhs is my actual sales, but I don't want to say, I want to say here as a not written, right? What I want to say here is a not written. So instead of NA, I want to replace this as a not written. So I'll go to my formula and I'm going to show you one more formula here. So instead of NA, we want to see as a not written, right? So I'm going to use the logical statement here. I will put this formula inside the if error. Now this is a new part. So if error I will put here. For value, I'll keep the value as it is and then comma, and I will do the not written and then hit enter and then double click on this and then come back to your this one and refresh, and here you go. Now tell me this looks nice, everyone. You have this product written and this one. And now what you can do is finally the last part, you can show this nice chart here. Okay. In this nice chart, what you can do is you can remove all these things. So you can add the value, you can format data label, category in percentage. So what is the percentage of sales which is written? Can I say with this 8% products are written and 92% are nothing but my sales, this one? This again gives me a nice overview, everyone. Here you go, our favorite cake pattern or the gems pattern. So not written is a 92%. Now not written is a good value, right? It's a good sign. So what I'll do, I will make it as a green, and written is not a good thing. So I'll make it as a red. Okay, now tell me. Now this is much better. It's a very sharp green, but you can definitely choose the color. I'll keep this for your reference. So now tell me how your manager will respond after looking all this information. Will not be happy to see all this information? Will be very happy, right? Because he has all the things here, all the things at one place, right? What else he wants? You have completed, you have, like you have given him a full package, right? You have everything here. Look what you want, year wise, month wise, you are what you're looking for. Look at this, what you're looking for years, right? So yeah, this is the written overview. This we will keep as a separate, or we can also keep this, or if we have some space here, you can also add this value here as well. That's definitely not a problem. It's just a matter of like, okay, how you can place it, how you can think of like to get all this information here. So we learn about text to column, VLOOKUP, sum if, average if formula, right? Date difference, average, and so many things you have created. Time. So we are going to start with the Power Query Essential. So what is the agenda for today? So agenda for today's data injection in Power Query from a local or a CSV file, right? So this time we are going to connect external file in a Power Query, external CSV file in a Power Query, and maybe folder as well. So I forgot to mention the folder word here, but it's a folder as well. Okay. So last time when we have connected to the Power Query, where was our data? In the same Excel, the data was in the same Excel, in the same file. But today we are going to use from folder, from Excel, from CSV. We'll see some data transformation. We'll do some data transformation, like we'll add some conditional column. We'll do the split. We already saw the split, but again, today we'll see some splitting part here. We'll load the data as a table, as a pivot table. But before we load the data as a pivot and pivot table, we will combine the data. So we'll understand about the append, how to append the multiple files, how to merge the multiple files, and the definition of this append and merge, what exactly this means and how you can do that. First topic, data injection in Power Query. So definition of append is what? One below one. And definition of merge is what? Side by side. They combine the things, but in a different format. So append will do one below one and merge will do side by side. So it go horizontal and it go vertical, right? But how this is going to work, we are going to see with the proper example. So this is what the append is. So you see, it's a very self-explanatory. You can understand what exactly the append is. So append, you have three files, file 1, file 2, file 3. And when you see the result, you will see all three files one below one. So the definition of append is one below one. And then merge, what is mean by merge? So merge is what? You have this data, and you're doing connection here. So you will see this output. So merge is connecting side by side. But I'll give you a proper explanation with the proper example. So this is just to give you an overview like what exactly it is, but I'm just closing that file as of now. You have a master data, you have a CSV file, you have a return order, you have a vendor CSV. Okay, so I'm opening the master data. All right. Okay, so let's understand the data injection data we have to load to the Excel. You have a sales data. How many files you have in the sales data folder? You have this sales data folder, and you have how many files here? You have 3 files here. Okay, I'm opening the file number 1. So it has a data for 2013 and it has some headers. Okay, how many headers I have? I have around 20 headers. And this data is for 2013. So your company is managing a data every year in a separate file, right? So every year the year starts, they create a new template and they keep adding transaction of that particular year in that file. Now, what good thing is, like you have the structure of the file same. That means you have to update the same number of columns every year. So look at this. In this file also, we have a same number of columns, which is 20 columns, right? So what is doing is like what you're doing is in order to save the space and size, because you can't keep all the data in one file. It will become very huge. It will become very difficult to analyze. So what your company has decided to keep the file separate for each year. So you have a 2013 data, then you have a 2014 data, and then you will definitely have a 2015, and this will keep increasing. And now take some different scenarios. We'll see some like weekly, monthly, and so on. But let's first understand this. You have been hired there as a data analyst or a business analyst. Okay, so you have been asked, okay, go ahead, Mr. Ajay, go ahead and give me some good insights from the data from this folder. So I have this folder. In this folder, I have 3 files. So you have to show me some insights, like how I'm doing year on year, how my sales is doing, right? So you have this master file. In the master file, it's a complete blank file. Okay. Now, as a like data analyst, what you will do as a normal person, you don't know some advanced coding, you don't know advanced part. A very basic thing, what you will do in order to get the information here in the master file. So copy paste. What you will do, you will copy this data. For example, you will paste here, then you will copy this data and you will just paste here, right? What you will do, you are going to do a copy paste. Yes or no, everyone? Filter is already there. You have already 2013 data, you have a 2014. So what you will do, you will open the file. Now you don't know anything. So what you will do, you will open the file, you will copy the data of 13, then you will copy the data of 14 and you will copy the data of 15. Now you will say, okay, I have to do this only once in a year. So what's a big deal? Let it be. I'll do the copy paste manually. I don't want to learn advanced technique. Now treat this scenario as a monthly. So every month you have a new file. So what you have to do, this activity every month, right? So the yearly activity is converted into monthly. So let's say you required some 30 minutes or 40 minutes or maybe 1 hour. So you say, okay, what's a big deal? I can spend 1 hour. I have to spend only once in a month. No? So not a problem. I'll do that. I'll do the copy paste. I'll not learn something new. Now take this scenario as a weekly or maybe as a daily. Every day you have a new file here and you have to do analysis. So you have to open the file, you have to copy and you have to paste in every day, right? So let's say every day you required only 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes to copy the data, to open the data, to clean the data, to apply some formula and to paste it here. So every day you are spending 30 minutes on this repetitive activity. This becomes difficult when it comes to every day. This becomes difficult. It was easy when it was a yearly. You will say, no, not a big deal. Once in a year, yeah, who knows? Why should I spend a time? But now just take this example as a daily, or maybe in some companies, there are hourly, where you have some value-added service. You are working on some BPO, some outsource. There you have to, like monitor hourly performance. What is the total sales, right? So far, how many volumes we have received. So you have to do this analysis daily basis, not in daily, but in fact hourly basis. Then this becomes difficult. So what happens, like you required some advanced technique. So where you can write some code, or where you can write some program, where you can create a button and just you click on this button and the things will work automatically. Will that be a best solution? If you write some code here, just you open the file, you click the button and the work is done. Everyone will be happy with this, right? It's a one-time activity. You need to write a code. But now the problem is we are not into the programming. So how the Excel will, or how this Power Query is going to help us to perform this task, and that to make this automatic, so that we don't have to do this again and again. Now everyone, the task is clear. What we are planning to do, we are planning to automate this folder. Something like we will connect to this master file, and then we will have some refresh here, and then you will definitely see the results in just few seconds, right? So this is our task. So this task, what I'm going to explain you, is called as a append. So this one below one, when I say the concept of one below one, this concept is called as a append. Now append is what? Append is something like what you are doing is you are, like appending a data one below one, and then definitely there are some conditions which I'll quickly explain you about the append part. So pay attention on the screen. So definition of append is what? It's a one below one. So this is a definition of append. So data combine, it's called as a append. So paste data one below one. What is a condition here? Header should be same. What is the one condition which we expect here is header should be same. So you have a month, is name and sales. You have a month, name and sales. Sequence does not matter. If the sequence is different, that is okay. You will still have the correct answer. Now, what happens if you have some extra column? If you have some extra column, what will happen? It will add a null value. It will add a null value here. So try to avoid the extra column, or try to avoid the different spellings, different name of the. Here you have a name, here you have a full name. They both will be treated as a different. Here you have a sales, here you have a gross sales. They both will be treated as a different, right? So the very first condition for append is your header should be same. Sequence does not matter. If you have some extra column here, then you will definitely end up with some null values here. And what else you have? You can append data more than 2 tables at a time. So you have a 2 table, 3 table, 4 table, 5 tables. So there is no limit. You can do more than 2 tables at the same time. So what is the condition we need to make sure? Header should be same. Sequence is not important. Okay. So now in our case, what is happening? In our case, we have a same header. So definitely it's not going to impact us, right? So I've opened this file, a very blank file, master file. It does not have any kind of data. It is absolutely only just 7 KB. It's a complete blank file. I need to get the data from where? From where I want to get the data here? I want to get the data from sales data folder. From where? Sales data folder. So what I'll do, I'll have to browse this folder. So I will copy the path of this folder. Now, how I'm copying the path of this folder? I will go inside this folder, sales data. I'll go to this formula bar, or we can say this bar here, and then I will copy the path of the folder. So I've copied this path. This will be different for you, different for me. Okay. Now we'll go to the get data section. Now in get data section, we learn this part. When this option is used, when your data is in same Excel, then this option we use, right? But now the data is outside the Excel. It is still in Excel, but it is in another Excel. It's outside this book. It is not in this book. So I'll go to the get data. In a get data, you will see the option. A lot of options are here, right? So that your data can be anywhere. Any tabular data you can connect. Remember, any tabular data, any data which is in the form of table, you can connect using these options, right? So this time we'll go with the from file. Now I need to connect to single file or a folder because I don't know the count of file there. It may be 3, it may be 30, right? If it's a hourly file, it will be, we have to connect the folder. Yes, we are not going to connect Excel file. Why? This means like we have to connect every time manually, because we don't want to connect this manually. So I'll select the from folder. Which option I'm selecting? From folder. So it will ask me, okay, browse the folder. So I've already copied the path here. So what I will do, I will paste the path here. I'll paste the path here. This is my folder which I want to target, and I'll press open. The moment I press open, it will it will connect to that folder, and it will show me, okay, look at this. In that particular folder, you have 3 files. Currently, I have kept only Excel file. But in future, you have some other file also, you can definitely do the filter out. Okay, now you have a 3 important option here. We have a transform data, we have a load data, and we have a combined data. So transform data will take you to the Power Query editor. Where you will go, if you click on the transform, you will go to the Power Query editor. So once you click on the transform, it will take you to the Power Query editor. Load and load to. This is actually in the Power Query, we used to load as a table or a pivot table. So this option will give me load and load to. But as of now, I don't want to load this file here, right? First, I want to load, but I want to combine as well. So for out of these 3 options, I'm interested in the last option. So I have a combine and transform. What will happen? It will combine and it will take me to the Power Query editor. So as of now, I don't want to go directly to the Power Query editor. I want to combine all this file, and after combining, I want to load to. So which option we are going to use? We are going to use combine and load to. Okay, so just pay attention on the screen and see what happens. If I click on combine and load to, it will start combining all 3 files. Pay attention on the screen. Here we go. So you have a window here called as a combine file. Now there is no data preview. So you have to select the data parameter here. But look at this first option, sample file. So in the drop down, you will see there are how many files are there? 1, 2, 3. There are 3 files. So which file you want to keep on the top? So usually we want to keep a 13 data, right? So what I will select from the default selection, I will select the 13. So what I'm saying to my Power Query, okay, I have a 3 files. So keep the 2013 on the top, then 14 and then 15. Now I will select the data here. So it will show me some kind of preview of the data, some sample rows. Okay, it says me, okay, in the sample file, you have a data looks like this. So we will quickly check. Okay, we have a 20 columns and the data looks nice here. I don't see any challenge. Now, what is the quickest way to confirm whether the data is correct or not? You have to check 2 things, text and number and possibly date. Okay. So text will always come on a left, number will come on a right, date will come on a right. If this information is correct, your data type is correct. Remember, currently in this case, error color, we can do arrangement. Yes, we can say arrangement, alignment, we can say. So look at this. This is number. Yes. This is text. Okay. This is date is on the right. Correct. Date is on the right. Correct. Vendor ID left. Correct. So quickly, if you go through this, you will see, okay, everything is appearing on the left. That means these are the correct. Look at this sales. Interesting part for us. So appearing on the right, appearing on the right, appearing on the right, appearing on the right. So that means they all are number. Easy, everyone, without looking anything. I'm saying like without going anywhere, just based on this only, you can check, okay, whether your data type is correct or not, or there is some problem in your data or not. If you see, okay, their numbers are appearing on the left, oh, we have to go and we have to fix this. Otherwise, we will not be able to do the calculation. If we see something is not correct here, and definitely we have to go and we have to check the other parts, right? So here I'm not talking about the missing information. I'm not talking about some errors. I'm talking about alignment, the basic alignment. So data looks clear. Now press OK. The moment you press OK, it will say me, okay, you have evaluating the data here. And then it will say me, okay, now tell me how many files we are pending? 3 files, 1, 2, 3. Now your one file has 100 row. Your second file has 100 row. Your third file has 100 row. So how many total rows you will have? You will have a 300. If I go with the table, how many rows will appear here? 300, which is manageable, right? This is manageable. So there is no harm. There is no harm to get the table. But scenario number 2, in the file 1, you have a 1 million record. That is entire sheet is full. In the file 2, 1 million record. In the file 3, 1 million record. Now tell me what will happen if I go with the table option. Not possible. Now why not possible? Because I have a maximum 1 million capacity and I'm trying to load how many rows? 3 million rows. There is a limit. Exactly. So this will not work. So you need out of range. So you need to be little careful. When you know your data is a small data, you can go with the table. But when when your data is a very, very big data, you are connecting to 3 million rows, absolutely not possible and not advisable to go as a table. Otherwise, your Excel will get crash. So in that case, what would be the best option? Pivot table. Now you got the explanation properly, which one to use in which scenario, right? I'm not saying this is right and this is wrong. Both are correct, but depending on the scenario, you have to take a call. So as of now, let's take a call of a table. I'll take a call of a table because I know I don't have that much big data. So I'll take a call of a table and I will say, okay, show the data in A1 and press OK. Achha, it has pressed here, not a problem. I will delete this manually. So here you go. You can see here the data has been loaded from the Excel 3 sheet. You can see there's a lot of actions has been happen in the background. That definitely I will show you. This is our interesting point. What is how many rows has been loaded total? 6,675. So from the 3 file, these many rows has been added. How we can verify whether the data is loaded properly or not? Then you can see here 13 Excel year, correct. Now this was not a part of our database. So from where this has come, what exactly this source name is? This will give you the file name, only file name from Power Query. Yes, in the only file name from where you have connected. Okay. So you have successfully connected here around 3-year data from that 3 Excel files. Okay, now you realize, okay, I have downloaded this. This is good, very nice. But I don't want to see this. I have to create a pivot table. So what you will do to create a pivot table on this? You will apply our shortcut key Alt-DP and then the pivot will be created in a new sheet. Correct? So now what is happening here? You first connected to the 3 file, you get the data in an Excel sheet, and then from there you are creating to the pivot table. So instead of doing this, getting data as a table, what we will do? We will directly create a pivot table now. Okay, but now the question is, do I need to repeat all the steps again? Answer is no. You all can see this queries and connection in your Excel. Queries and connection is there on the right hand side. Suppose this is not there. Suppose you accidentally cancel that part. How you will get queries and connection? Go to the data tab, and here you can see the queries and connection. You have to click on this. So far so good, everyone. How to get this window? In this entire section, these are all codes. So this part is something like is all the backend thing which was happening. Power Query use the M language. By the way, Power Query use M language. M language is a mesh language. Like we have a Java, we have a PHP, we have a VBA. So Power Query use M language. So with the help of M language, Power Query has written this code. We have saw this one. So this part, like this part is something like which is used by the M language, and we are not interested in this because we are not here to write a code. We are interested in this section. So what was our task? To convert this table into pivot table. Okay, this was our task. So right click on this, and do you see this option load to, and then you have this window again, which you saw in the first place. Now click here pivot table and press OK. It will give you a kind of a information. Remember, this is not an error. This is the information. It says like this query is connected to a table in your workbook. Do you want to convert your table into pivot table? We say yes. That's why we have clicked on that. So we will simply say OK. And now what has happened? Your table has been converted into pivot table. Interesting, this one. Your 6,000 rows has been converted into pivot table. And now you can see here on my right hand side, the pivot window is visible as well. So what I'll do, I will quickly check whether how many rows has been extracted. So I'll move the row source name here. So I can see here, see 13, 14, 15 coming properly. And then I'll move source name one more time. It says me, okay, from 13, these many rows has been loaded. These many rows has been loaded from 15. And this is my total rows. Convert your regular table into pivot table. And what we usually do in a pivot table, right click and pivot table option, uncheck auto fit, go to display, check on classic. Remember these two things. These are the basic things you have to perform with every pivot table. There are two things which you need to do a setting with the pivot table. One is auto fit, uncheck, and second is tick classic layout. Okay, how you can do this? Okay, I'm going to explain you this. So these are the two things. So right click on the pivot table, go to the pivot table option. Go to the pivot table option. In the pivot table option, you will see the layout and format, and then untick auto fit. Is the first part is clear? Now, second is go to display, and inside the display, tick on classic. This is necessary because you will have a very clarity on the header names. You will have a subtotal. So this is more readable. See, creating data is good. I'm not saying this is the incorrect without this, but with this, it will become more readable, right? If you want, you can compare. You can create two pivot table. One without classic and one with classic, and you will see the difference. Or maybe I will also show you, not a problem. Just hold on, I'll show you this one, the difference between two, and then you will realize why this is important. Okay, now this part is done. So we will quickly recap what we have done so far. So we have actually, combined 3 files, and as a result of one file, so we saw as a result of table, and we saw also as a result of a pivot table. Okay, now you will ask me, okay, what is the point in this? I can do this manually as well. There is no need to do all this lot of calculations and everything. So I'm going to show you something new now. So how many files are there when we have connected, when we created this one? It was only 3 files, right? Now let's say you have a new file. So there is a new sales data. In that I have kept the 2016 file. Copy this file, and so go to the new sales data, copy 2016, come back to sales data and paste here. So now you have this 4th file. Now what has happened? This 4th file was not there when you have created this pivot. Now this 4th file has come with the same structure. Remember, the columns, headers are same. We don't know about the rows. Rows may be less or more, but the columns, headers are same. So how to get this information here? Guess how to get this 2016 information here. Do I need to repeat all the steps? No. Just right click, do the refresh, and see the magic. Data has been getting easy. Life become easy now. So every time you have a new file, you will tell to your stakeholder, just refresh, and you have the new data here. Okay. How many files we have connected? We connected 4 files. Okay. So these are the size of the file. So what is the total? If I want to see, so 200, 200, let's say 400, 4 plus 3, 6, 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 4, 11. Somewhere around 1100 KB approximate. This is the total size of all 4 files, yes or no, right? So what would be the size of the master file? We can say 1100 because the same data is loaded there. Look at this. What is the size of the master file now? 541. So what does this mean? It's also shrink the file. The size has been reduced. So Power Query is helping you to reduce the size. If you do the manual copy paste, it will be 1100, but you are using the Power Query, so you are also saving on the space as well. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to see some more exciting feature in the Power Query. Once the Power Query is open, now you will not be able to open any other Excel. So what I'll do, I'll take some sample column names here so that we understand what are the columns we have. This is what our columns are. Usually these are our columns. Okay, so I'll take the small screenshot of these columns, and that will help me to understand. So why I'm taking the screenshot, because once my Power Query is open, then I will not be able to other files, and we have to check some what are the columns available in our data set and so on. And that is the reason I'm taking the screenshot here. Okay. And I'll take this screenshot in this file only. I'm going to show you the next task. What is the next task? You have to find out the sales done by vendor name, one thing, by vendor, what is the total sales, and by person, what is the total sales. So do you have a vendor column in your data set? You don't have a vendor column here. Do you have a person column here? You don't have a person column here as well. Okay, we have a vendor ID and we have a region. So there are 2 other files. If I go to that file, if I go to the main folder, there is a vendor CSV file. Okay, so you have this vendor file available. CSV, yeah, it's a CSV. What we did in order to get the vendor name here, so we have applied VLOOKUP because we want to see the by vendor. Now this time what has happened, these are the 4 files. If you have to apply VLOOKUP, so in how many files you have to apply VLOOKUP? You have a 4 files, right? You have to open the 4 files, right? And you will get this vendor ID here. Now for VLOOKUP, another thing is in the file 1, let's say you have 1,000 rows. How many rows you have? 1,000. But here you have only 5 rows. So will that be any problem? If you have any less row here and more row here, will that be any problem? No, definitely not, right? So what is a common thing you will see before you apply the VLOOKUP in this 2 table? On which basis you will apply the VLOOKUP? It's a vendor ID. Let's say if the vendor ID is not there, then can you apply the VLOOKUP? No, right? What about other columns? Are they important in order to apply the VLOOKUP? Are they important for me as of now? Absolutely not. I'm only interested in a vendor ID, and I'm also interested in a vendor ID. The other columns are absolutely optional for me, right? So I want to get a vendor name. So I need only these 2 parts. Now the concept which I'm going to explain you is called as a merge. The merge is what? Side by side. Look at this table closely. Okay. You will see here what is happening here. I have a name of the employee and their manager names are here. So this is definitely a fact table, right? This is my fact table and this is my dimension table. So we will build a relationship in a data model in a Power BI. Okay, but in a Power Query, we don't have a data model option. In a Power Query, we have a merge option. So what we will do, we will connect this table with this table based on the name to get this information here. So this is how the data will look like. This is nothing but my VLOOKUP, but we are not going to use VLOOKUP in a Power Query. In the Power Query, this is called as a merge. So both tables should have a common column, same value, can merge two tables at a time. So there's a limit. You can merge at least only two tables at a time. At a time, you can merge two tables. If there is a third table, you can merge this with the third table. Now, this is also referred as a joins, most commonly used as a left join. So this is also referred as a joins. So there are two things. I'm going to show you one to get the vendor name, and you have to do it by your own to get the person name. You require two columns here. So one I will explain you, one you have to perform. I am in a master tab. I'll go to the data tab. I'll go to the get data. This time I need to select which option. My vendor file is in which format? CSV. So I can see CSV here as well. So can I take this one? Answer is yes. It's the same thing. So I can click on this as well. So CSV. So look at this. I have a CSV here. So I'll select the vendor CSV and I'll click on import. Okay. It's only one file. So I can browse easily and I can go. It says me, okay, in your data set, you have two columns. And CSV is what? Comma separated value or a tab separated value, TSV or CSV, right? It says, okay, based on first 200 columns, this is what it looks. So do you see the data is correct here, or we want some kind of transformation? Anything is missing in the data set? Closely look the data. Something is missing. Header name. Header names are missing. So this we have to promote the header name. Now quickly tell me where the transform will take you. If you click on transform, what will happen? You will be going to the Power Query editor. Remember this line. Once you click this transform, this comes in a Power BI as well. Remember. So when you click on the transform tab, it will take you to the Power Query editor. Why we go to the Power Query editor? To perform some steps where we can convert our unstructured data to structure. So to perform some cleaning steps, remember this, okay? This may be an interview question as well. Why use Power Query? You should explain this, okay? Transform. I click on the transform, pay attention on the screen. And after the transform, I will see something here, okay? Pay attention on the screen. So you will see a lot of queries here. So don't worry about these queries. These are nothing but for previous file. So you have a sales data here, which you have already loaded. Now we have a new query, which is coming in the form of CSV, but it looks like a same here. I have to perform one action here. What is that one action I have to perform here? What is that? Rename. I can rename, but again, this will become a value. I don't want to treat this as a value. Actually, these are a header, right? So I want to promote header here. What I want to do here is promote header. I'll go to the transform tab. Where I am, I'll go to the transform tab. On the left top corner, you will see the second option, use first row as a header. And now I'll click on this and here you go. The header has been promoted. You will see the new step has been recorded here and I am done with my transformation part. My data is clean. Now we have to connect this table with the sales table. My sales table is a bigger table and my vendor table is a smaller table. So I'll make sure like sales table is treated as a left table because left table has everything to return and this vendor table will be treated as a right table. How we can decide left and right? Okay, because here they are one below one, right? So how we are going to decide which is left and which is right? Okay, select the sales table, go to home tab. In the home tab, you will see this option combine. You will see this option combine. In the merge, click on the merge and you have this window. Everyone clear with this? And you can see the sales table is coming on the top and the first table is treated as a left table. So you have a bigger table on the left hand side. Remember, what is a point here to get the left bigger table on the left hand side? Because left, we are going to apply the left join. So this will return everything from the left hand side. Now in the second drop down, you will see the lot of different tables here. So we are interested in which table? We are interested in a vendor table. So you have a vendor table here and then you have a sales table here. Now by default, this will be treated as a left and this will be treated as a right. So look at the type of join. So there are multiple joins. So what is a join? By default join, it's a left outer join. It's a left outer join. What does this mean? Everything from the left hand side and matching from the right hand side. So this is the ER diagram. Quickly, I will show you the ER diagram. So you have, let's say, this is your left table and this is your right table. So this is your left table, which means definitely everything you will get from here. Okay. And this is your right table. So this will, you will get the matching part. So this information you will get as a result. This information you will get as a result. The common part, yes, we can say the common part and everything from the right. So let's say you have 1,000 rows in the right. So minimum you will get 1,000, and the matching you have only 10. So you will get only 10 from the matching, and rest part will not become here, right? So we can say A union B. Yeah, a lot of other words used, especially in the database language. When you learn the SQL, this will comes. Okay, so you have a sales table and you have vendor table. Now tell me, what is the common factor between these two? So vendor ID. So we will select the vendor ID here, and we will also select the vendor ID here. And here you go. See the best estimation. The result on the right bottom corner, you have 994 rows are matched from the first table. That means everything is properly connected here. And now just press OK. The moment you press OK, you will see there is a complete new column added. Where? In the sales table. In the sales table, you will see there's a complete new column as added. You all can see this table. Do not click on the hyperlink. If you click on the hyperlink, what will happen? It will open the table. So before OK, you have to click on this vendor ID and this vendor ID. You have to select the vendor from this drop down, select vendor ID, and press OK. You will see there's a new column added, vendor column, where in the sales table. Don't click on this hyperlink. Click outside this area. Click on this white area. And you will see there are two columns in that table. So which one you are interested in? You are interested in only vendor name, because vendor ID is already there. Na? So what is the point of getting this information again, right? So you can see in the vendor header here, usually on the right hand side, there is no filter, but here you will see some new arrow, kind of this type of arrow. Can you see this arrow on the right top corner of the column header? And click on this header, click on this icon. You will see this option here. Okay, it says, okay, which are the column you want to extract? I'll say I am interested only in vendor name, but at the same time, do not forget to untick this, because I need original name as it is without a table name. Okay, so in short, you will untick everything and just tick on vendor name, and you have to press OK. The moment you press OK, you will see surprise. The vendor table has been successfully added here. Acha, now my point to explain you here is, we have two tables. We have already sales data. We already got this information into sales data. So do we need vendor table to be loaded in Excel? No, it is not required, but we cannot delete. We have to keep this active, but this is not required in Excel. Why? To increase the size of the Excel. So what I'm going to do here is pay attention on the screen. I'll go to close and load to. So this close and load to is appearing for this vendor table. Remember, because this we have already loaded. Sales data is already loaded. So this close and load to is appearing for the new table. So I'll click on the close and load to, and I will select the last option. Which option? Only connection, because I don't want this to load it back here, because this already there in the original table. So press OK. So look at this. Now how many tables are there? You have loaded two tables. One is a sales data and one is a vendor, but vendor is loaded as a connection only. That's why you're not able to see the vendor table everywhere. So you will say, okay, what is the point of getting this? We already have the vendor column here, right? How we can check that vendor column? So I will open the pivot table field and look at this. Actually, we got both. Yeah, look at this. We have a vendor name coming from the original table. Vendor ID, it was already there in our Excel. So now what I am going to do is, I am going to remove the source name from here. I will remove the source name from here. I will move the vendor name here in the row section. So I have a vendor name here. And yesterday we did one thing, right? Order date minus ship date. So actually we can do that as well. We have to add one additional column there. But as of now, let's do the sales part. So look at this. So this is what the sales has been managed by all these vendors. So this we have successfully connected our fifth file, which is absolutely a CSV file, right? So we connected a CSV file in order to get the vendor name without using the VLOOKUP. So now this is my original data. In the original data, there is no vendor name here, but in our output, we have a vendor name. So in future, there is a new vendor name will come. We can directly refresh here and that information will come here. Next part, we have to work on the return order. People, you have to connect like this and you have to get the sales by the people. I'm going to show you about the return, how we can get the return information here. So I just want to have another column here. So before return column, we have to split our data and then we have to connect and then we use if error and so many things we have done, right? So that I'm going to show you here. So people, you can do, it's the same process like vendor. So what is a file type for return order? It's an Excel file. Okay. So now I'll have to go to the get data from file and from Excel. It's a single workbook, no? So I will select only this part. I will not select folder. Folder only I will select when I have to correct multiple file. But at this time, it's only single file. So I'll go with the single file. Everyone pay attention on the screen for the next 5 minutes. Click on return order. So get data steps are absolutely same for different type of files. It's not a new. You will also get this navigator window here. You can select here. Okay, what are the problem with the data set? What is the problem with the data set? Not separated. That's one thing. Okay, and second, header. So as of now, first we have to fix this. Before we go to merge, we have to fix these two problems. Correct? So header and this one. So which option should I select? Load or transform? It's a transform. Remember, when you want to perform some transformation steps or cleaning steps, you have to click on transform, right? So you click on the transform. So return table is now loaded to the Power Query. We'll do one by one. So first I will select the return table. I'll go to the transform tab. And first I'll click on used first row as a header. First row as header has been promoted here. Okay. Now second part is I need to split this one. What is my delimiter here? Space. But all spaces or only first space? Or I can say the left space. If I'll do all spaces, then this ID will be different, product will be different, damage will be different. This we want to treat as a one. No? This is a one value. So only one space, which is the left hand side, right? If you scroll down a little bit, look at this. I think you have three values here. If you go with the all spaces, then this becomes separate, this becomes separate, this becomes separate, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, which is incorrect. So you want one column for order ID, you want another column for return reason. Okay, got it? Now select this column, right click on this, split by delimiter. In a delimiter, you have to select here as a space, but very, very important, this one. It is showing by default only leftmost. Now this feature is not available in the Excel. This feature is available only in the Power Query and Power BI. So click on this, press OK, and you are done. So you have order ID separated, you have a return separated here. So first step was promoting header. Second step was delimiter correctly. And the third step is rename the column. So I will rename this column as a order ID, and this I will rename as a return reason. Now I'm explaining you here how to merge return with the sales. So very first rule of the left join is always keep the bigger table on the left hand side and the smaller table on the right hand side. So in our case, sales table is a bigger table. So I'll select the sales table. I'll go to the home tab and I will click on merge query. So this window will appear. Now here I will select return table. So return table is selected. Now which one is my common column? So order ID with the order ID. I'll try to see like, okay, how many? Okay. Now, what does this mean? Is this information is correct or incorrect? What exactly, how you will read this? So you have a 994, it's a correct. And how you will read this? What exactly this mean? You have to explain in a simple word. Out of 999 transaction, so only 800 are written. We can say this, right? So if you have to read in a simple word, so this means like 800 are written out of 10,000 transaction. Approximate 8% products are written. Right? If you have to find out in a percentage, I'll show you that as well. While showing empty, I have to expand this. I will uncheck everything and I will select return reason and return. This time I need a 2 columns and press OK. Here you go. Look at this. So these are the nulls, which is fine because these are not written. So these are not null. These are my returns, right? And I have a reason for return is customer dissatisfied, product description inaccurate. I also have to find out which is the like highest reason for the return out of 800. So close and load to, and then in the close and load to, this time again you will have to select only connection. If by mistake you select table, not a problem. Right click on this and change the from table to connection. That's absolutely fine. You can see here return is also in the form of connection. Now what I will do here is I will try to see some different view here. Okay. So this is my sales and I have a return column. Where is the return column? This one. So what does this mean? Blank means what? What is mean by blank? It is not written, right? It's a null and it is also considered as a not written. It was a NA because we applied the VLOOKUP. No? We apply the VLOOKUP. So we got the NA. So we replace NA with what? Not written. You remember this one? Now how we can do this here? So I will go to I'll go to the Power Query, double click on this. I'll go to the Power Query and I will try to see if I can replace in the return column. I'll try to right click and see the replace value to find null with not written and press OK. Let's see. It is working. Yeah, it is working fine. So what I did in the sales table, instead of adding additional column, in the same column, I just replace the information by doing right click, replace null with not written. And now if I go ahead and close and load to, so you have a written, you have yes, which is written, not written 21 lakhs. And if someone will ask me, okay, what is the percentage of this? So I'll move the return table here again. I'll do the right click and I will do summarize value or show value by percentage of grand total. So you can see here. So this is something like I can say percentage return. So I can say, okay, 7% products are returned out of 8%. So this is something like we can check the health of our business. So let's say you have a target of 5%. So only 5% product should be returned. That should be accurate. You should send accurate, you take the accurate orders and everything. But if it is 8%, definitely you need to check who is the employee, who was the person who took the order and everything. And you can do a lot of other analysis. So if you want to see some more information here, so for example, I want to see here sum of sales, I will make it out. Return, I will put it on the top. So this is 7% and this is like this. And I will put it here as a return reason. Here you go. Now I can understand, okay, what has happened. So what is happening here? So 3% returns because of product description inaccurate. So there was a problem in the system. Like it is not capturing the correct accurate information right about the product. And you can see here, 1% is only for customer dissatisfied. Incorrect product delivered, some incorrect address, this one and so on. Do you understand this? How nice this is analysis and how you can give a good recommendation to your business. And this is how you can say, okay, 7% is, this is something like it's happening in your business. Like, okay, go ahead and check this one. Product arrived after the promised delivery date. Now, what is this? Where you will, whom you will blame on this part? Who is the culprit in this scenario? You will go back and check which variable. You have the answer. You have worked on that. You will check the vendor. Yes, you will check the vendor. Who has the vendor? Who has delivered this one, right? Delivery partner. And then you will say, okay, boss, see, this is something like because of which I have to bear the 2% loss on my product, right? On my total sales. So what are you doing, right? So you can definitely give a constructive feedback to your partners or to your product owners and so on. All right. So everyone, is this clear? So far, so good. We have done a lot of analysis on this. It's time to implement it. So what is agenda for today? So agenda for today, we are going to explore some new features of the Power Query, especially for the data transformation, like how it is pivoting, what is unpivoting. We are going to see group by, aggregate. We are going to see the custom column, extract value from the column, conditional column, then append to merge multiple files. We will see append to merge multiple sheets, then date and month and year extract, then connect to the external file. So definitely this is something like get data from the Excel file and load as table or pivot or only connection. So let's first of all understand the case study. What we have some forecasting here. So our company is doing some there's a one person who did some forecasting. So as of now, I'm not explaining you about the forecast. I'm explaining you about how to analyze the forecast and actual data. So what has happened here in your company? There's a one person who has predicted, okay, in the month of January 2021, in the north area, so we are expecting the sales of 845. Now what happened? He has done this forecast like in the month of January for north, for chair, for furniture. This is going to be the forecast. Now what happens? Actually, what has happened? You are looking at, okay, so in actual we receive 899. So the forecast was 845 and we receive a slightly higher volume in the chairs, right? So what is considered as a good forecast? Let's say you are in a budgeting and forecasting, right? So there it is considered 5% variance. There it is considered 5% variance is a good. For what example? What is mean by 5%? I forecasted 100, then I have 95 or 105. So this is the range, which is approximate to real. So 5% is considered as a good forecast. Error, we can say variance, right? If I'm working on some sales forecast, maybe it has the target of a 10%. Plus or minus 10% is okay. I'm fine if it is a 90% accuracy or it's 110% accuracy. I'm okay with that, right? So every department has, like every data has some different type of forecasting range, right? So we'll have to find out, okay, this person has done the forecast of 845 and we receive 899. So overall, we have to do the analysis of this table. Now look at this table. It is around Jan 21 to around November 2022, which is the current month. And then in the forecast, we have a Jan 21 to, we have a, let's say, December 2022. So we have a 1 year complete forecast here. And definitely in future, the December data will also come here, right? One thing. Second part is we have a different categories here, different region, I would say, different subcategories. So every category, subcategory, node, region has a different forecast. Now, if I ask you, okay, do the analysis of this, definitely it becomes very difficult to work in the Excel. Very difficult. Now we are going to use Power Query to analyze these type of data. So everyone, data set is clear, task is clear. We have to create a nice overview of a forecast and actual. Open the analysis file. Analysis file is completely blank. So I'm going to get the data here. So I want to get the data from that Excel. So I'll go to the data tab and then I'll go to the get data from file. And then in the from file, we have a from Excel workbook. So which Excel workbook we are targeting here? We are targeting, okay, I'll have to browse the folder. I can browse or I can paste the path here. That's okay. Both are okay. So in this folder, I am not looking for all the files. I'm looking for actual versus forecast data file. Now I'll click on the import. Now I want both the data to be loaded. Okay, look at this. Is this data is correct? Or do you see some challenge with the data? What is the challenge with this actual table? Something is not correct here, right? Headers. You all agree with this? Headers are not correct. So definitely we need to make some changes. And this is a horizontal data. Remember, this is a horizontal data. So horizontal data is definitely not good for the practice for the analysis. So we have to convert this into vertical. So 2-3 things we have to do. Now look at the forecast table. Forecast table is also the same thing, same challenge forecast table as, right? So we have to load both the table, but now I don't have, I think I have clicked on that part. All right, fine, not a problem. Let me close this. I don't have to click on that because I want to load both the tables and I don't want to do one by one. I want to do it in one go. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. So I don't have any option here. So I'll go to this select multiple items. Remember this one, select multiple items. So when you select multiple item, you have a checkbox here. Click on these 2 checkbox. And after you click on this checkbox, click on transform, and transform will take me where? Transform will take me to Power Query Editor. Okay, remember this. So we have to do definitely some analysis, some cleaning part. So I'll click on the transformation. Now, once I click on the transformation, I can see the green window, green Hulk window, very powerful. And then I can see there are 2 tabs which are successfully loaded here. So very first step, let's start with the actual table. In the actual table, what are the things we have to do? First, we have to fix header, and where you will find the header, go to transform tab and click on use first row as a header. Here you go. Header has been successfully fixed. Now, this is a cross tab data. I want this in a vertical data, which is a flat file. So select category column 1, category column 2, category column 3. So sorry, this 3. So this is these 3 columns you have to select. After you select these 3 columns, what you have to do? Right click and unpivot other columns. Look at this. So what has happened? The data has been unpivoted and all the remaining columns, whatever columns are there, it has been properly unpivoted here. Now, once you have unloaded this, so you have this category, region, subcategory, attribute, and value. So we are in actual table. Huh? We are doing everything in the actual table. And the same thing we have to repeat for the forecast as well. Okay, now tell me, what do you see here? Do you see anything we need to fix here? Is the data is properly aligned now? Date. What do you have to do with the date? Date header. So attribute, we have to make it as a date. First of all, is this date or it is a text? You have to check on the left top corner of a header. Look at this. It's a text. So this will not allow you to do any kind of analysis. So you have to definitely go back and you have to change from ABC to date. Now this has become date. Now you can see the calendar icon here. So this is a date now. And at the same time, what you can do is you can rename it as a date. So 2 things, you have to fix the data type of date and you have to rename it as a date. Now this looks properly. So we can do definitely analysis on this part now. Now this is my actual table, but do I have any column here which says me, okay, this is your actual table or actual data apart from this header? Because if the header is not going to load this name of the table. So if we load this, we will have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 column. And this becomes difficult for us to find out, okay, this is actual or this is forecast. So what we are expecting here is to add a custom column here, to add a new custom column. I'm going to add a new column here. And you remember, you have to follow all these steps for the forecast table. I'll go to the add column. Where I am in an add column. In the add column, you will see there's a custom column option. I'll click on this custom column. The moment I click on the custom column, it gives me this window. And in this window, it says me, okay, you have a custom column. What is the name of the column you want to keep? I will say maybe type. I'll give a name as a type. The same name you have to give in the forecast table as well. So we have given a date here and we have given a type here. Now in this type, I want to add a value as an actual. So I will type here in a double quotes actual. So now you can see here, there are all the Power Query formulas can be written in this window. There's a very vast library of Power Query formulas is available. It is different from Excel formula, a little different from the Excel formula, right? So I've written here as an actual, and you can see there is no syntax error. That means my formula is correct. Actually, I've not written any formula. I've just written a value. And now if I press OK, you will see there is a new column added with a type header as a value as an actual. Now, what do you say? Can we load this data as it is or something coming in your mind? What we have to do? If you want to create some nice pivot or nice overview, instead of merge, can we do append? Because we have a same columns here and we want a one data, one table. We only need a one table, right? As a vertical table. So we have a forecast table and we have an actual table, one below one, and then we will do the analysis, right? But now we have not seen the combine option here because this is not something coming from the folder. So how we can do that? I'll go to the home tab. In the home tab, I can see there is a append queries. Yesterday we saw about the merge query, but this time we are going to see the append queries. In the append, I will go and I'll select which option? Append as a new. Remember, we don't want this original table to disturb. We will keep original table as it is. And we will create a new table here where we are going to load this data from these two tables. So which option I'll select here? I'll select append as a new. So I'll go and click on append as a new. So it will ask me, okay, how many tables you want to append? I'll say 2 table. As of now 2, but if it's more than 2, you can select this and you can use this one. But as of now 2 is okay. I want to see first table as a forecast, second table as a actual. Remember, you need to be select properly. If you are confused here, then select this one. You will see here like this. So you have 2 tables available and you are doing appending of 2 tables. Okay. The moment you press OK, see what happens. Here you go. You have this append as a new table. Now you understand why we have created this type column because it is append. So now this will help me to understand this value is for the forecast or this value is for the actual. You got the idea now why we have created this new column there? Because without adding a new column, if we do the append, then it would be difficult for us to identify whether this is actual or forecast. Okay. How you want to load this data? What would is a preferred option to load the data? You have around how many rows? Somewhere 3100 rows you have. Everything looks okay. I'll go to the close and load to, and in the close and load to, what we will do? We will create a pivot table, right? That would be the easiest and fastest way to show the data. So pivot table I will create and press OK. And then you will see some additional tabs are also getting loaded. Let it be. We'll remove those parts. So what has happened here? Look at this. So actual has been also loaded. Forecast has been loaded. This we don't want to load. We are only interested in a data tab. So I'll do right click on the actual and I'll click on the load to and I will click on only connection, right? So this you need to make it only connection here. Remove everything. Press OK. Now this is a optional part, but this is good to have here, right? So see, actual become only connection. Forecast, do the same thing. Otherwise you will get confused, right? So only connection, press OK. Now look at this. So you have only data part is loaded. Actual and forecast are only connections. Okay. So now let me go back and look at this one. Actually, this is not the actual word. Actual name is incorrect. So I'll give a name here as a data. And in a data, I have these 4 categories. Just pay attention on the screen what I'm doing now. I will move date into row section. So I have a 2021, 2022. So quarters is not required. Date is also not required. So I have a month and year. And one more thing, what we'll do, we usually convert this into a classic layout. That's our basic thing. So right click on the pivot table, go to pivot table option in the layout format, untick auto fit, go to display, tick on classic, press OK. So this becomes more clear. And also I'll go to the view tab and remove the grid lines. Now I will move the value here. So this is my total value, right? This is a total value column is appearing here, but I want to see the split of value by forecast and by actual. So what I'm going to do is I am going to move the type column into the column section. And here you go. Look at this. How beautiful and nice this looks. Okay, this was your forecast and this was your actual. But you will see, okay, actual you want to see later. So you can just rearrange this one and look at this. So this was your forecast, 31,930 was your forecast, and actual was 37,832, and so on. December, we don't have a data. That's why it is not there. So you have a nice view here about the forecast and actual. You are free to create any slicers and any charts, whatever we have learned, in order to support your, more analysis. Ready for the next part? So we have already successfully created this. What you can do is, as I've already mentioned, you can have the category and maybe subcategory if you want to show. So let's say if you click on the furniture, so this is performance for furniture and so on. You are free to create any slicers here. Okay. So these are the optional thing. This already you know. So it's not going to be a challenge. So I will create a region here. Maybe this is how this looks. So this one is okay. Now we discussed in the beginning, we want to see the accuracy, like what is the percentage, how accurate our forecast was. So how we can get this information here? It is not possible here. So we'll have to create another tab here for the accuracy. Accuracy is nothing but actual divided by forecast, right? So, but we have to do the pivoting here. So we did unpivoting. Now we will do the pivoting and the grouping. So I'll go to the data tab and I'll go to the queries and connection and I will go to the inside the Power Query editor. So now I am inside the Power Query editor. So I want to, let's say I have this attribute column here and I have this, I don't have the month column here, right? Month on month and year on year. So I don't have that column here. So what I'll do, I will try to get this information, but I think we'll have to extract the month and year out of this. We have to first extract the month and year out of this. So how we can get the month and year out of this? So I'm going to show you add column. Which column I'm going to show you here? Add column. So we saw the custom column, but we will not do here. Let it be. We'll not do here. First, I'll show you. We'll do the duplicate of this because this is already connected to our Excel. So we don't want to make changes here. So what I'll do right click on this and I will do the duplicate of this. Now what is meant by duplicate? So whatever is there, we have this data is coming from actual and forecast. See, data 2 is also coming from actual and forecast. So I just, instead of creating a new append, I just created a copy of this. And this time I'll give the name here as a accuracy. So what I'm going to show you here is go to the add column. In the add column, you will see a new option here, a inbuilt feature here from date and time. So I'll select this date and time, date column. Remember this same thing you will find in the transform tab as well. So I'm not talking about a transform tab. I am talking about adding a new column. So go to this part and select the month here. And in the month, you have the name of the month. What you have to select here? Name of the month. So when you click on this, you will see a new month, a new column has been added here. And the name of that new column is a Jan, Feb, March, and so on. We will extract the year also. How we can extract the year? So we need to select the date column. I'll go to the date tab and then you can see the year. I'll click on the year tab here. Look at this. So year is also extracted. Group by means what? Grouping the same value and showing the total count. So grouping the same value, grouping means like you have this, let's say Jan here, you have a Jan here as well, and you have a Jan here. So instead of 3 Jan, you can group by of these 3 Jan, make it only 1 Jan, and you can do the sum of this value, sum of this Jan, and sum of this Jan as a one value. So group by means like, okay, combine the things and get the total. It's a kind of a pivoting. Remember, it's a kind of a pivoting, but it's not directly pivot. It's something like you have to do it manually. So pay attention on the screen. Let me show you how we can do the group by. So we have to do a group by year, by month, and by type. So I have to do a group by of 3 levels. I can do group by for 1 level. Let me show you by 1 level first of all. So right click on this and then you can see the group by option. And then in the group by, you will see count. I don't want to go for the count of rows. I want to go sum of value. So this I will say as a total. So the moment I press OK, what has happened? Look at this. So I selected the year column. I right click and I click on the group by. In the group by, this year was already selected. I want to add a new column. The name of the column is total. In that total, I want to see a sum calculation and sum of what? Sum of this column, a value column. Now you press OK. See what happens. You have a year as a group by and this is the year total and this is your year total. So group by has reduced the data drastically and has just converted into whatever the unique values are there. So it has converted the group by and the value of those group by. This is a basic where I have selected only one column, but I'm going to show you some multiple. So pay attention on the screen. I've deleted this step because I want to show you the multiple one. So I want to do a group by of year. After the year, I want to see month, and after month, I want to see type. So I want to do a group by of 3 levels. So right click on this and then press group by. You will see there are 3 levels. So type, month, and year. But no, this is not we have selected. We selected first year. So what you can do is you can move this up, you can move this up, and you can move this down. Okay, so you have a year, after a year you have a month, and then you have a type. This is also correct, and type is also on the top. That is also correct. You want to add a new column. In this new column, you can put it here as a total, and then you want to do a sum. Sum of which column? You are interested in a value column. So I want to do a group by or by year. Inside the year, I want to do a group by of month. Inside the month, I want to do a group by of type, and then the value part. And just press OK. The moment you press OK, you will see like this. So 2021 January forecast this one. 2021 February forecast this one. And then you have a 2022 January forecast kind of thing. Then you have a 2021 actual this much. So what has happened? You have actually created a pivot table or a flat file here, right? Kind of a pivoting here, but it's not something like which we are looking for. What we are looking is we want to move this forecast and actual on the headers. So we want to see a forecast column separate and header actual column as a separate. So we understood about aggregate function, like combine the things or find out the unique things and do the sum of the other columns and give you the single value. Now, in this case, what we have done, we have combined 3 columns, right? What are the 3 columns? Year, month, and type, right? So we have aggregated these 3 columns by the value column. So we are looking the value, and in the value also we are looking the sum. And this total is nothing but a name of the new column. So this you can give anything, right? So operation also you can do like you can do sum, count, min, max, average, and then you can use that particular column to do this operation. Now it's time to move this particular column into header. How we can do that? That's our new target. Okay, so we have to select this column, the column which we want to move on the top, that we have to select. This is my target column. So I'll select this target column. I'll go to transform tab. So I'll select this target column. I'll go to the transform tab, and there is an option called as a pivot column. So this column, we want to make it as a pivot. In the previous example, we have moved other column as an unpivot. This time we are moving this column to the header part. So I'll click on the pivot column. It says me, okay, you want to pivot the column. I'll say, yes, I want to pivot the column. By which? What is your value column? So I'll say my value column is a total. So this is my value column. So when I say value column, so you remember in the pivot, there is an option called as a value. There is a section called as a value here. Okay. So this value column, I want to see the total information into this value column. Okay. Now, very, very important. There is another option. I don't want to do a kind of any calculation here. So aggregate value function is showing as a sum. So do you want to do sum? No, these are already summed, right? These are already summed. Now I don't want any further sum. So what I will do, I will go ahead and in the aggregate value function, I'll make sure it is a don't aggregate. Means like do not do any kind of calculation. Just simply move this type column into header and this total column into value section. And now when you press OK here, see what happens. Here you go. You can see the forecast and actual, which was a very big column here, has been moved to the 2 different columns, right? So forecast value has been coming in as first column, actual value is coming in another column. So in which step I am now? I am in the 3rd step where I've inserted year. Here what I'll do one more thing. I'll add one more column, add column, and this column I will add as a month number. So I will add a new column here, which is having a month number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, why I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Any idea why? What is the reason of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because during the sorting, it will help me. 1 to 10, it will help me. If I do the sorting of this column, what are the options I have? I have only A to Z or Z to A. And if I go with the A as a top, will the January will come on the top or the April will come on the top? So this April will come on the top. So this is the incorrect one, right? So that's the reason we have added one additional column here called as a month number. Then we'll see the group by. In the group by also, then we need to add that. So I'll click on this group by section and maybe I will add here adding grouping of a month and maybe I will move this up. So year and then maybe month number, month name and type and then okay. Then here you go, pivot. So you have this one and now you can see, is this fixed already? Can you see this one? This is already fixed by having this number, this column. This becomes easy. This makes your life easy. Now, if you think like, okay, work is done for this, possibly we can try to remove this and see what happens. Yeah, here you go. So we have removed this one and we still have the correct sorting here. Now, after this, there is a one important step. What is that? We did a group by, but now in group by, how to get this month number? So go to the group by section. In the group by section, you have this gear icon. click on the gear icon, and then you will see this window. This was not there. So what I did, I added a group by. Maybe I can show you like this. So this was not there. This was the original one. Huh? Okay, everyone, pay attention on the screen. This was the original one. Then we have to do a add grouping here. I click on add grouping. In the add grouping, I selected month. I selected this month. Remember, now this month I need to move after year. So I cannot just simply drag and drop on the top. So I have a 3 dots here. I'll say move up. I'll go 3 dot. I'll say move up. Is this clear? How to get this new column in the group by step? After this, if you select the pivoted column, you will see automatically data is properly sorted here. Now check, do you see the data sorted? After year, you have to get the month number. So if the position is incorrect, then you have to fix this position first. And now your work is done. So do you need this column? This column is required? No. So right click and remove. So remove that extra column and your data is now sorted. Now what final step we want to see? Final step, we want to see a conditional column or maybe a normal column where we are looking some calculation here. Actual divided by forecast is my accuracy. So what I'll do, I'll go to the add column. Pay attention on the screen, everyone. Add column. Then I have a custom column. I have a custom column here. Add column and I have a custom column. So I'll click on the custom column. It says me, okay, so I will give a name here as a accuracy. And what is the formula for accuracy? We are expecting actual divided by forecast. So actual divided by forecast. This is what we are expecting. Press OK and you are done. This is what the forecast accuracy is. So 1.18 means like what? 118%. So it's time to load this. So I'll go to close and load to, and it will definitely come to the new sheet as a table. Remember, in a new worksheet as a table. So as a table, add as a new worksheet, press OK, and here you go. So you have this one. So maybe you can convert this into Control Shift and % sign, and you can see here. Okay, so this is how my accuracy looks like. For month of January, it was 118% and so on. So we have to add one more column here, like it's a good or bad, right? Or maybe if it's between conditional column, we will add here below forecast, over forecast. So if it's a less than 100, it's a below forecast. If it's above 100, it's a over forecast. And if it's 100, exactly 100, or maybe we can say 98, 95 below, or 90, 105 above, and maybe this one we can say as an actual, right? So let's complete this one, and then I'll show you to add an additional column here. Last part, everyone, we want to decide this condition here. So what is mean by condition? So we can say like, okay, let's say if it is less than 95%, then it's a below forecast. If it is greater than 105%, then it's we can say above forecast. And if it is greater than 96, but less than 104, so we can say in range. We need to add a new column here in order to get whether the forecast is below forecast, above forecast, or in range. Let's start this and we'll have to get this one. But we are not going to do this here. We are definitely not going to do this here. We are going to add this in our Power Query. So how we can go to the Power Query? You can double click on the accuracy tab and it will take you to the Power Query. All right. So everyone just pay attention on the screen. So we have to add one more column here about, what do you say, status? We can say status here, right? So this is going to be a conditional column. This is not a flat column like we do multiplication of this and get the answer. No, we have to check, okay, whether some condition is fulfilled or not. And then accordingly, we have to create a column here. So pay attention on the screen. I'll go to the add column, and in the add column, I have this conditional column. So I'll click on this conditional column. The moment I click on the conditional column, it says me, okay, you want to add a conditional column. Now please go ahead and define your logic here. So what is your logic you have to define here? So first I'll keep the name as a custom. Maybe instead of custom, we can say status. Which column we are targeting to create our status column? Accuracy. Unfortunately, we don't have a between operator here. So that's going to be a problem. So we need to redefine our condition. When what is that? Let's check. So if it is less than 95%, what does this mean? If it is less than 95%, less than or equal to 95%, we will say below forecast. Can we say this below forecast, right? Under forecast or below forecast? Now, if it is less than or equal to 105%, then what does this mean? If it is less than or equal to 105%, it is greater than 95, but less than 105. So we can say in range, or you can give any name, or we can say accurate or in range. And if it is greater than 105%, then what? Can we say over forecast? So we have a less than equal to value 0.95. Okay, and the what output we are looking for? We can say below, I can add one more clause. Then the other column is accuracy is less than or equal to 1.05. Then it's I would say in range. And if these two conditions are fail, if this condition is fail, if this condition is fail, then what does this mean? This means it is a over, right? So we will type directly here else clause as a over. Okay, so it's a below forecast, it's a in range, and it's a over. And I will try to press OK and we'll see what happens. So we will definitely have a one error here because there is a null value. So we'll have to fix that error as well. But let's first understand whether it's giving us a correct answer or not. So look at this. 118 is a over, 99 is a in range, and 88 is a below. So this 197, 101, 97, 99, everything is in a in range part. And then definitely we have a one error here. So instead of this error, what we'll do, we'll try to replace that error. I'll select this column, this one, and I have a replace error with maybe null. Okay, I don't have a error now. So the error has been removed. The final step, you have to load this to the Excel. So finally go ahead and load this to Excel, and then you will see a new column here, like kind of a status. So it's a over forecast, it's a in range, it's a below forecast. So you can definitely add one more thing here. Go to table design and insert a slicer of status and press OK. So these are the below. So we have a 2 times forecast was below. So we are around 11 times forecast was over. And in range, it was around 10 times the forecast was most accurate, right? So you can definitely do this kind of analysis and give your user to understand, okay, what exactly the data looks like month on month, year on year, and so on. You can also change the color of the slicer, or maybe you can change the table design itself. I'll prefer to go with the blue. Rest is your choice.